Hello, campers. How you doing? I'm Bruce Williams, and I'm delighted you've chosen to spend some of your time with me. Now, usually I invite you to call, but do me a kindness. Let's hold that for weeknights, because this is the best of Bruce. We'll give you what we hope is the best of conversation radio. Glad you're here. I'm Bruce Williams. Our telephone number, 800-743-8000, 800-743-8000. Let me qualify that. The longest-running national program. There's certainly some local programs been around longer, but nothing on the national level. I'm kind of proud of that. About 15 years now we've been doing this thing. Our telephone number is 800-743-8000. It is indeed 800-743-8000. Let's begin the festivities in Wichita, Kansas. Hello there.
Yes. Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Pleasure to talk to you. I know it's probably been a long day for you, so I'll make this...
It's always a long day. I enjoy it. What's on your mind?
I'll make this real brief. But you're about the only person that I could maybe talk to about this. I have a travel question regarding a cruise ship, and I can't go through a travel agent because I booked it myself. And
you went directly to the cruise line?
Right, and the attorney said it's not worth their while. So I really, if I could, I kind of need some feedback or advice.
Well, what did you? It's so unusual buying directly from a cruise line. Why did you do that?
Oh, I guess probably. I don't know. I thought it might be probably cheaper, but it turned out it was more expensive.
What happened?
Well, what should have been pleasurable turned into kind of a disaster.
It was a bad cruise?
Yeah. And
what happened? Tell me about it.
I don't know how to approach the cruise line.
Well, tell me about the cruise first, what we're complaining about.
Or what would be reasonable to expect from them.
Well, tell me what you're complaining about.
Well, basically, no, I'm sorry. I know you don't like that word.
No, it's a good word, but it's misused so regularly it kind of distresses me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What happened?
I had reservations, and the cruise line accidentally canceled those.
Oh, let's start with this. Where was the ship going to go? Where were you going on this cruise?
The Southern Caribbean.
Southern?
From San Juan.
To what? Down to Grenada, down that way?
Oh, it was supposed to hit about 7 ports.
No, not that many.
From San Juan, St. Croix, Guadeloupe, about...
That's the Eastern Caribbean. But go ahead.
It was kind of roughly about 7 ports.
Okay. Go ahead.
Anyway,
and they just dropped you from the computer, huh?
Yeah. What happened is, and I kind of feel like I had a lot of damages as a result of.
Well, no, wait a minute. Look, never mind what you felt. Tell me what happened. you made reservations on a cruise,
right?
Did you pay for them?
No. It was this was kind of an unusual situation, and this is where it gets kind of.
Well, just tell me about it without the editorials. Just tell me about it, guy.
I made actually, I was going on 2 cruises back to back. The first one went okay, but the second one was the problem.
Tell me about it.
Because I went on the. I didn't have time to wire them the money because I was leaving on the first cruise. So what they told me is this is kind of an unusual circumstance. So we will hold your reservation for you until you get to the pier, and you will pay us at the pier.
You were on the same ship back to back, or different ships?
No, it was a different ship.
Okay.
And
can I ask why this didn't give me your credit card number?
They said they don't do that. The only type of payments they accept is bank wires. So anyway,
so you got there, and what happened? You got off one ship, is what you're telling me. You come into San Juan on one ship, and you're going to be transferred to another one. Is that correct?
Right. And I found out that the cruise ship was way overbooked, and what they were doing is the way a supervisor explained to me is they were bumping low or no pay people to make room for high pay people.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's probably a good business move on their part, but what does it do to somebody like me who had non-refundable plane tickets?
Well, wait a minute. Were you low pay or no pay or what?
I'm sorry?
You said they were bumping no pay and low pay. Where did you fit in that?
I was a no pay.
Why were you no pay?
Because they said that they will hold the reservation for me until I pay for it at the pier.
Oh, in other words, you were intending to pay, though.
Exactly.
All right, so then, okay. So they bumped you, so now what?
Well, I kind of have a lot of damages as a result. I had non-refundable plane tickets as a result of missing the ship. I got hotel bills. I got a rental car. My rental car was broken into.
Well, you hung out in San Juan for a week. Is that what you're telling me?
A lot of my stuff was stolen.
Well, that's another story. But you were hung out in San Juan. Is that correct?
Right.
You went to a hotel in San Juan and stayed for a week.
Well,
is that correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I stayed there for a couple of days, and then I went back to Miami to talk to the cruise line.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that they were willing to offer me is 25% off of a next cruise.
Mm.
And I don't think that's, gosh, Bruce, I can get half off through travel agents.
Well, of course you can. But see, you made your first mistake not going through a travel agent.
Right.
I don't understand why you did that, but that's another program. Secondly, you say you didn't have time to pay for it. Would you make the reservations a week before you left?
It was about a day or two before the first ship was leaving.
Well, it only takes 5 minutes to call your bank and say, I want to send out a wire.
Well, normally you could, but this was on a week. I believe it was a weekend or something.
Well, then if you were on the cruise ship, where'd you go on the first cruise?
First cruise was, let's see.
Just the first stop. You go from San Juan to where?
Well, no. Actually, the second cruise was from San Juan.
Where was the first one from?
The first cruise was from Miami.
All right. But as soon as the ship was at sea on Monday, you could have picked up the phone and called your bank and had them wire the money.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I tried that, and on the first cruise only made 3 stops.
Well, you can call from any cruise ship in the Caribbean today. They have telephones on the ship.
Yeah, well, that's true, but
just like making a call from home.
But at $15 a minute?
No, they're not 50. That's the satellite.
That's what the cruise ship that I was on.
Well, even at $15 a minute. Well, there's not much you're going to do about it, and I don't know. I don't think you're going to be able to sue them.
Well, I don't.
I understand your frustration.
I guess I'm wondering, since there was, if I put up a bunch of money, then I think a voucher for another cruise would probably be in order. But since this is kind of a gray area, since no money was put up, I don't know what would be reasonable to expect.
I don't think you're going to get anything more than they offered you.
Okay.
I think that's what they're going to give you. And as you point out, you might be able to get that kind of a discount depending on the time of the year. Not always. Discounts are a little misleading. 50% off of what? 50% off a rack price, 50% off a sale price, and whatever. I understand your frustration. I think that part of the responsibility is yours. Certainly, the idea that they overbook like that is inexcusable. I'm surprised they couldn't find you another. Did you make an effort to get on another ship?
No. Well,
that's a yes or a no.
No. The reason being is that what was so crucial about this cruise is there was a estate planning a seminar on it.
Yeah.
Those are very rare, and I'm executive for my parents' estate, and I really needed that.
Well, but there's estate planning seminars everywhere.
Well, this is true.
That's not an excuse. Come on. Well, I don't think you're going to do much better. You had an experience, you'll learn from it, and next time you handle it a little bit differently. I wish you well, Tiger. I really do. I'm Bruce Williams. To Utah, Ogden, Utah. Hello there.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hello there.
How are you tonight?
I am just fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Great. I've got a question. You've probably heard all the insurance questions that there ever was, and I've listened to quite a few of them, but for some reason I just wanted some more guidance or information.
Well, let's talk. What kind of insurance are we talking about?
Automobile and homeowners.
Okay, let's talk.
Okay, I bought a home 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I've made 3 payments. The initial payment, the next year, and then this year for 96.
Initial, I mean insurance payments.
Right. Well, right. The annual payments?
Okay, yeah. When you said 3 payments on a house in 3 years, that's a good deal. On the house. Okay, go ahead.
And it's gone up, to me, what I would think a substantial amount each.
Mm-hmm.
It started at one amount, and it went up about $50, and then it went up another $50 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to several people that have homes. Of course, I'm a new homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them I talked to said theirs has never changed in 20 years they've owned their home.
That's not. I doubt that very seriously.
Or maybe it was such a minute amount they weren't aware of.
Well, I think it's not so minute. I think that the latter part of what you said is true. They're not aware of it. See, frequently people, in fact, as often as not, they don't pay their homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
It's paid for by the escrow account at the bank.
Right, that's how mine's paid.
And they just don't pay attention to it. But I can't believe anybody's insurance didn't go up in 20 years or anything like it.
Mm.
Now, whether or not it should have gone up $50 is another story. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if you're appropriately insured. I don't know if they increased the insurance, which a good broker will do if the property's increased in value.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the guy bought the house 20 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one you're talking about?
Right.
You're not going to tell me, I hope, that he has the same amount of insurance on it that he did 20 years ago.
I don't know.
Well, would that seem very bright?
No, it wouldn't, because for sure the house is going to increase in value.
And just by virtue of inflation. It might not be increased in real value, but by inflated dollars.
Right.
So that would mean more premium, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of gives the lie to what they told you.
Right.
Now, you can shop around for homeowners. In some places, you're in Ogden, right?
Right.
I don't have any idea what the market is like. There are parts of the country where you got to get down on your knees to get a homeowner's policy. You just pray somebody will sell you one. You don't ask how much. You say, can you?
Mm-hmm.
For a variety of reasons. One, of course, if you're in an area where there's been some disasters, like parts of Florida, right?
Right.
There are other areas. What else can you think of that would be a reason why nobody wants to write homeowners insurance?
Floods.
That's another, but that's right in there with the storms and so forth. But I'm not talking about natural things.
I don't know.
High crime.
High crime.
You could live in a very nice upscale area, but if the burglars are hitting it pretty regularly, people don't want to write insurance, do they? And of course, low income areas. Why? Because there seems to be an unusual amount of lawsuits for liability purposes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of reasons. Homeowners insurance, by the way, is a hell of a bargain.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. You buy an awful lot of coverage for the amount of money that you spend.
Okay.
If you went out to cherry pick all those coverages, it cost you a fortune. Yeah, you got burglary, you got robbery, you have bursting of water pipes, fire and lightning, extended coverage, additional extended coverage, coverage on your stuff away from home, coverage on your contents, the building itself. Well, there's a lot of coverage there.
You know, when you talk about that,
Liability insurance.
yeah, when you talk about that, you've also mentioned umbrella umbrella coverages?
Yes, sir, because the reason is that your liability insurance, both on your car and on your home, is very limited. You may say, limited, I got $500,000 in my car. That's not enough. You can add $1 million for another $100 a year, $125 a year, something like that.
For your home and auto?
And your home and autos, plural, if you have more than one.
Is it based anything on your income?
No.
I mean, for somebody like me, would a $1 million umbrella be enough?
I don't know I would not be comfortable with just $1 million. And it's so cheap.
You have to have your automobiles covered for a certain amount.
Oh, absolutely. There's probably a $500,000 deductible. That's called the underlying insurance. The same thing is true in your house. You've got to have a liability policy on your house. If you can envision mentally here, just 3 gears with teeth that one works off the other, all 3 must mesh. The homeowner's policy with a liability that's built in there, if somebody walks down your sidewalk and does a header. Your automobiles, no point in beating that one to death. And then the umbrella policy, and all 3 must mesh together. That's why it is really prudent, not necessary, but prudent to consider buying all of these things from one agency or brokerage.
But it doesn't hurt to shop around each year.
No, but but I wouldn't be jumping from pillar to post, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because you have a couple of claims, you've been with a company a long time, they're liable to tolerate you. Otherwise, come renewal, goodbye, mother.
Well, I've never had a claim, not even on my automobiles.
Well, knock on wood, you don't want any.
Yeah.
I do wish you well, guy.
Could I ask you one other quick question?
Sure. Go.
Oh, on IRAs and employee-owned stock, some companies have, I think, their 401k programs or something like that.
Well, there's a whole bunch of different programs, yeah.
Well, I'm in one, and I think of long term, like when I get ready to retire.
Yeah.
Should I just keep paying into a plan like that, or do I need to do anything further with anything like that?
Well, you can pay into that plan, but that doesn't mean that's going to be sufficient to give you a decent retirement. You should be saving money outside of that. I think that you're very foolish if you can afford it, not to put money into an IRA. Even though it is not tax deductible for you because you have another retirement program.
Right.
It allows those dollars. How old are you?
43.
Okay. In your case, they can labor still for 27 years, 28 years, tax deferred. So let's assume that you put, for the sake of discussion, $100 there, just to make it real easy, right?
Okay.
And $100 earns $5. Of the $5, you have to send at least, we'll make it real easy, $1 to Washington, right? Okay. That if in the conventional investment, that dollar is going to sit there for the next 28 years in your case, and let's assume it doubles every 8 years, all right? So that means it's going to be worth $1, $2, $4, $8 and change. There's $8 waiting there in your retirement fund that you would never had a shot at because it would have been down in Washington paying for some cockamamie program. Is that a good deal?
No.
It's not. It's a hell of a deal. IRAs are a terrific deal, what I'm telling you. Take advantage of them. Even though it's not tax deductible, it's a great deal. I'm Bruce Williams. Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's your turn in my world. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi.
I'll try and be real concise here.
There would be a novelty. What's on
Don't you
your...
feel like you're pulling teeth sometimes?
Some out of a giraffe with tweezers. With a short ladder.
I know.
What's happening?
Well, I found a bank book of mine dating back to 1979 showing a $3,000 balance.
All right.
In from New York, so it's in a New York bank. that has since changed hands. I wrote to the state where they have uncollected funds or whatever.
It's called the S-Cheat Division.
What is it?
S-Cheat.
S-Cheat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They had no record of the funds being turned over to them. When I was in New York last year, I went into the bank with the passbook, and they were going to refer it to their headquarters. I have been on the phone with them a few times since then. They cannot find any record of the account being closed, and they're not sending me the money.
Well, in that case, if they haven't found the record of it being closed,
they don't know what happened to the money, is what they're saying.
Well, the interest would be turned off after a couple of years.
Okay.
Because then the reason for that is somebody could leave $1 there, and 100 years later they own the bank.
Right.
They don't want that to happen. But if they can't find record of it being turned into the state of New York, and there's no record of you closing the account out, and you have a valid passbook.
That's what I think.
Well, is this a state or a state chartered bank or a nationally chartered bank?
I don't know. State,
yes.
would imagine.
Well, no, you can't imagine.
I don't know.
Well, you know the name of the bank?
Yes.
Is the
supposed to say it though?
I didn't ask you to say it.
Okay.
In the name of the bank, is the word national any place?
Of the
bank. In other words, it's, you have the
national, right?
But then that's a national bank then.
Yeah.
All right, then that's run by it's licensed by the federal government. You write to the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. And you say you would like to have this looked into.
Right to the Federal Reserve Bank in Albany?
In New York. I don't know. I think there must be a Federal Reserve office in New York City. I don't know that. But you can make an inquiry of any Fed office in your area, and they'll tell you.
Okay.
And you just tell them the account number. It's a federally chartered bank, and they can't give you any answer to your question. That's all. But what do you think the chances are of you not having closed that account out? I mean, are you that forgetful?
Yeah.
Are you really?
It is possible. I can't swear that I haven't, but I really honestly don't know. But it is possible. In fact,
Well, see, if the account went away, then after 20 years, there probably wouldn't be any record of it. 25 years.
Well, they do have a record of the account. They do have a record of the account number. But they're suggesting that I transferred the money into another account. And I don't have any recollection of doing that. And
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what
I
don't know what their responsibility is after this many years. Don't know the answer to that.
Well, I did call the State Banking Commission.
Well,
they said there is no statute of limitations. They are responsible for my money. There is not a time period where they're responsible.
Well, then you got your answer. Then just stay. I would write to the Federal Reserve.
But they're not sending it to me. All right, write to the Federal Reserve.
They're the people who license that bank.
Okay.
Not to see the State Banking Commission license state banks. If the name of the bank was the First State Bank of West Undershirt, they're the folks that license them. But if it says national or NA in the name...
National, yes. Both the previous bank and the takeover bank are both national.
Okay, in that case, that's who you talk to.
Okay.
I do wish you well with it.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. I'm Bruce Williams. Hello there, Las Vegas. How are you?
Good evening, Bruce. It's an honor talking with you.
Well, thank you.
I have seek your advice in regards to manufacturer using my name on their product without my permission.
Your name? Why would they do that?
I don't know, to maybe generate sales more.
Well, why would they use your name as opposed to the guy next door's name or down the street?
Well, about a year ago, I was approached by a professor at a local university to asking questions about a certain product, and to develop, how would you do to develop a recipe and how to, promote it to get more people, consumers to use it. And he was doing a seminar to a group of individuals who happened to be the sponsor too as well. And
hold on, I don't understand what you just said. He was doing a group of individuals.
he was doing a seminar.
For what purpose?
To promote a certain food product.
A seminar?
Yeah.
Who were the attendees of this seminar?
A media conference group.
A media?
I was told not to.
Oh, come on. I know what you're talking about. You mean like the NAB or something?
It's International Food and Lifestyle Media Conference.
And they had this in Las Vegas, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they had this, and they had this conference,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy is making a presentation to the conference.
Yeah.
How did you get into this?
I'm just one of the known chefs in town, and he called a group of people, and I was one of them. And he asked me how I would like to promote this product. I mean, how would I, sell it, upsell it, market it in my kitchens or wherever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him this idea. Okay.
What was the idea?
A recipe. I gave him a recipe.
Using his stuff?
Using the product.
What's the product?
Tuna fish.
He just puts generic tuna fish out?
Well, it was for the sponsor, the manufacturer.
In other words, like Chicken of the Sea or somebody.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And I thought nothing of it. I was just helping a fellow colleague.
Yeah, so very quickly. So where are we going with this?
Well, 9 months later, my name ends up on the label of a can from this manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm told that it's 600,000 more labels with that being used in this can.
Mm-hmm. They said this is Chef so-and-so's recipe, right?
Right. And endorsing my establishment and my affiliations with various affiliations.
Do you own this restaurant that you're in, or you just work there?
I work for them.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So my question to them was, what gave them the right to use my name without asking permission?
And they said?
They said the reason why they did it was because they was part of this conference, and it goes to media and it goes for publication, giving name, the chef recognition.
Mm-hmm.
But I said to them, when you put it on your cans there, okay,
mm-hmm.
it's basically like an endorsement.
Yeah, I'd say that was probably a fair statement.
Okay, that if you wanted me to do that, you should have asked for a waiver from me.
Well,
and they couldn't give no answer.
Did you discuss this with an attorney?
No, I have not.
Well, I do so. I don't know. What are you looking for?
Well, yes, I did. My brother-in-law is an attorney.
Okay. Well, that's not who I'd go to, just on general principles. My daughter's an attorney, but I don't go to her for legal advice because she's my daughter.
Well, I understand. But no, I asked him for advice.
All right. And what did he say?
He says I have merit and that I should pursue it. But I said to myself, because I listened to your show, that I would ask for your advice and see what you thought. Well, what my recourse?
Well, I don't know the answer to that.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, see, by participating in this seminar, I don't know if you gave up any rights. The guy asked you for a formula, and you gave it to him.
I gave him an idea.
Well, an idea.
Okay.
That's a formula, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You can say so. Okay, and because based on my idea, he developed the recipe and then put my name on there.
I don't know that you certainly haven't been damaged.
No, I don't.
But whether or not you're entitled to be compensated is another question.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And what did your brother-in-law say? The case has merit, but?
Well, that was not his line of expertise. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
he is an attorney, a different type of attorney versus this one,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me to that I should pursue it, with an attorney that knows this type of.
Yeah. Well, if you want to do that, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion. I really don't.
You don't.
I mean, it would seem to me if they put you on a label like that, at the very least, prudence would say get your permission.
Yeah. Well, they send me a subsequent letter thanking me for letting them use it, and then framed this label on it.
Oh, there's a biggie. There's a biggie.
And I talked to them, and they said, yeah, they know they did right. And I even says, well, basically, to do something like that, you should have waivers. And
well, basically, I don't know if that's true, you see. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And your brother-in-law gave you good advice. Go find an attorney who specializes in this area, because I just don't know.
Okay.
Good luck with it, my friend.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, having your name on 600,000 cans of tuna fish?
Yeah.
There are worse things.
Institutional.
I do wish you well.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Santa Maria, California. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay. I wanted to get your opinion on new car extended warranties.
Sure.
I've heard them in the past. In the past, you've said, it's just an insurance company. What if the insurance company goes belly?
Yeah, there are a couple of exceptions to that, though. There was one major insurance company here a while ago that operates in all but one or two states that's very solvent, that was in that business. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Well, the particular question I have, the extended warranty is being offered by the manufacturer.
Yeah, I have no problem with that either.
Okay. How do I know if I'm getting a good deal? If it costs, it can cost up to $2,000.
Well, let's start with this. The extended warranties in the main are very profitable for the manufacturer, the people that issue them.
Uh-huh.
The problem with the private companies is some of them were the coverage is so broad that nobody can make any money. 100,000 miles on a used car, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But is it a good deal? It depends in some measure on you and the way you use your automobile, and how many. See, ordinarily there is some kind of a mileage limitation.
Right.
Well, let's start out with this. You buy a brand new car, you got certain from A to B or C, you got coverage. You don't need this. They'll say it's an 80,000 mile warranty for the sake of discussion, but it really isn't.
Oh, right, because
the first 36,000 or 12 or something you got anyway.
Right.
So it's rather like a warranty on a snowblower. It's a 1 year warranty, but how much snow are you blowing in July? unless you're in Australia.
Well, the problem is that you have to buy it within the first year of you own the car.
I understand that.
And at that point, the car is fine.
You can't insure the thing after it's going kaput.
Right.
I understand that as well. Now, the thing is, how many miles a year do you drive?
Only about 10,000.
All right. Now, how many miles does this warranty go out to?
You can get different terms. You can get 7-year 100,000, or 7-year 85,000, or 5-year 65,000. There's a bunch of different terms.
Well, how long do you think you'd keep the car?
Probably at least 10 years.
All right. Then the 7-year 100 would probably be where you want to be, right?
If I were to choose one of them, probably the 7-year 85,000.
All right, fine. In your case, my inclination would be to say, yeah, I'd go with it. Why do I say that? Well, there are a ton of things that go wrong with cars that are as or more time-related than they are mileage-related.
Okay.
By deterioration. Would you get the guy that drives 40,000 miles a year? I'd say no. Because generally when you drive that kind of mileage, at least a significant portion of it's out there on the highway, on the freeway, where it's the easiest kind of mileage. The guy that drives 10,000 miles like you do is probably putting 10,000 hard miles on, mostly around town.
Right.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, mostly.
Maybe not for you, but on balance, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Furthermore, if you took the one that you described, it'll work during the entire period of time. If the guy who puts on 35 or 40,000 miles a year were to buy that same thing, it's gone away in 2 years.
Right.
Even though it's got a 7-year time frame.
Okay.
So the guy that puts on low mileage, I think it's not a bad deal.
Okay.
Because you're putting on the toughest mileage and you'll have coverage during the entire period of time. The high mileage guy is putting on easy miles and will run out very quickly.
Right. Okay.
So the deterioration items are never in the high mileage guy's case, they're never going to be covered.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of warranty before deterioration becomes a factor.
Right. Well, the reason I ask is that I've been offered these on past cars that I've bought, and always thought, they're not a good deal. Well, I could have used them on the other cars.
Yeah, I don't think they're a bad deal.
Okay.
For guys like you, not for me too now.
Yeah.
But when I was driving 800,000 miles a week, it was a very bad deal.
Right.
I don't do that anymore.
Uh-huh.
I do wish you well.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Bruce.
You're very welcome. Falls Church, Virginia. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing real well. What's on your mind?
I just got a car yesterday in here in Virginia, and I read the manuals, part of the warranty, and during the buying process, I asked the salespeople and the finance people some of the details involving the warranty, and they say, "Oh no, don't worry about it. You have 6-year bumper to bumper, except the last year will have major powertrain coverage." Looking at the warranty, though, it implies something different. And comparing what I'm going to be suffering with this car and the warranty and the price.
What do you mean suffering?
Well, I don't know whether this is a true statement. This is an expensive car. I bought it from a dealership, but I bought it used. It's not a brand new car. It's I got around almost 4,000 miles into it. And it's.
But you bought it from a dealer?
Yes.
Did it come as a new car with a new car warranty?
Yes. It has what is called the new car warranty still applies to it.
All right, go ahead. Very quickly, we're running out of time here.
Okay. It is the brand is well known to be a defective car from previous year. According to the new research, it's being proved. But I was trying to keep the car for more than 7 years and then resell it because they're not going to make it anymore like this.
What kind of car is it?
It's a Jaguar.
Jaguar?
I'm sorry?
A Jag?
A Jaguar.
Yeah.
It's XGS Jaguar. Select edition. And they're not going to make the same model anymore starting this year.
All right.
And I would say, well, keep it for 7 years, drive it, and then resell it, and probably don't lose that much money.
Maybe.
Maybe. And now I give it some heavy thoughts, and I feel like returning the car.
Well, on what basis do you think you can return it? I mean, you bought it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. I only have 1 day. Actually, today was the delivery date.
But you signed for it and it's put in your name, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, on what basis do you think you should be able to return it?
Well, I misunderstood the finance people and the sales people. They made me believe that the car would be warranted for 6 years with bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
And that's not true according to the little lines that I found.
Well, if they materially represent it and you can prove that would give you a reason to escape. But on balance, if you bought the car, you bought the car. Whether you can persuade them to negate the deal is something else, but I doubt if you'll be able to do that. And they're going to say, well, you misunderstood, and that's going to be a serious problem in terms of how do you settle that? Through litigation? That can be very expensive. I do wish you well, guy. I'm Bruce Williams from Westwood One Entertainment. Well, hello there. How you doing? I'm Bruce Williams, and indeed, welcome to my world. Now, ordinarily I would be inviting you to call, but this is a compilation of programs you may have missed. It's called The Best of Bruce, so hang on to that dialing digit. Sit back and enjoy. I'm Bruce Williams. That's what the whole thing is about. Friends helping friends. Swapping ideas, exchanging information, figuring out how we can profit by the other guy's triumphs and some of his tragedies. Simple as that. Well, to get on the horn, 800-743-8000 is the easy way to make it happen. 800-743-8000. Coalinga, California. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Hello?
Hello there.
Bruce.
Yes, it is me.
Boy, it takes a terrible time to get through to you.
No, that's an ugly rumor. Don't spread it.
Okay, I won't. I shan't.
What's on your mind?
I'll never ever. Okay, I'm really concerned about things. My husband and I decided we'd trade off. He'd go buy something for himself, and I'd buy something for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So he
What kind of somethings?
Well, he bought a $47,000 Pontiac Firebird convertible Formula car.
How old is your husband?
Old enough to know better.
How old?
63. Now, hey, we're in our twilight years, so we thought we would do this for us.
Twilight at 63? Get me a break.
Well, he is.
Oh, how old are you?
About 3 years younger.
Oh, you're only
You're
a
not
kid.
supposed to ask questions like that. Bruce.
Sure I am, because it kind of gives color to what we're doing here.
Okay.
So your old man went out and bought a sports car.
Right, because that's been his dream.
So what did you go out? Get a lover?
No.
No?
I couldn't afford one.
That
I
was
bought
your
a house.
You bought a what?
A house. For $42,500.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not. Now, remember, we're in a small town, you know.
Where are you?
In Coalinga, California.
That's what I thought. Okay, you bought a house for Do you have a house now?
$42,500.
Did you have a house up until now?
No, we rented.
Oh, okay.
So
you rented to you. He bought a car that cost more than your house.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something there. Go ahead.
Okay, so his payments on his car run less than $500, about $480 something a month, and his car will be paid off in 5 years.
That's nice.
Well, it will be.
Okay, I don't. You must know that I don't agree with financing cars for 5 years.
Well, let's put it this way: his car will be paid for in 5 years.
Yes, but I say you must understand. I don't agree with financing cars for 5 years.
Well, that was his prerogative.
I understand that. I think it's foolish. That's all.
Well, sweetie did it.
Hey.
I mean, he has his dream.
All right. Listen, who am I to louse up his dream? Go ahead.
Yeah, don't make waves, Pierce.
That's what I get paid to do.
We've had a discussion over this car, but it's fine.
No, I bet you just a discussion. I bet you just gave him a brand new you-know-what.
No, I got a brand new house for $42,500. But I would like to know why it is taking me at $409 a month, which includes, you know, my taxes and et cetera. I want to know why it's taking me 30 years to pay for a house that is less than his Firebird. I don't understand.
All right, now I'm going to get my glasses on here because I happen to be in the right studio. I got what's the interest rate on this house?
8.5.
All right, and how much did you finance?
All of it, VA.
40. How much thousand?
42.5.
All right, so and 30 years you said, right?
Yeah, 30 years.
All right, so 42.5. The first payment. Just cut me a break here.
I'm sorry.
We're looking at 307, 322, and $325 a month is what it would cost you for 30 years.
And I'm paying $409.
Well, but you also have taxes in there and insurance.
They're included. Yes, right.
Yeah. Now let's let your husband financed his car,
exactly.
If memory serves me, for 5 years, right?
Yes.
All right. If you financed You're 40,000. He put some money down. He had to.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. But he's not buying it, honey. He's leasing it.
No, he's buying it.
Well, I don't believe it. At 8.5%, let me 8.5%. If you borrowed $40,000, it's $820.67 a month, and you got to pick up the other $2,000. It's another $41, $860, and the other $500 is another $10,870 a month for 5 years. Now you said he financed how much?
He traded in another Firebird, but his bill still comes up to about $47,000.
Yes, but how much was the car he traded in worth?
Oh golly, it was another Firebird.
How much did he pay? How much is his payments? Tell me that.
$487.
All right, then he only financed between $20,000 and $25,000. If it was $25,000, it'd be $512.
Okay.
And that's at 8.5%.
But still, his bill.
Yes, ma'am, but he didn't finance as much as you did.
Bully old poop.
That's the story.
He got me again.
He got you again.
He got me again. Now I end up, but even at that, I still can't see why I'm paying 30 years.
Because you're pay it off in less time. It's going to cost you more money. That's all. Now, there's no law against that. I told you what the numbers would be.
Well, I think I'll just take his allowance and pay it on the principal on my house.
Well, as I said, if you wanted to finance that car at 8.25, that house 8.25, if memory serves me right. If you decided to pay it off in the same 5 years, you would have to pay something on the order of $950 plus a little over $1,000 a month.
Good, he just blew his allowance.
I do wish you well.
Thank you, Bruce.
Take good care.
I appreciate this. Bye-bye.
Erie, Pennsylvania. They're out there. They're really out there. Hello there.
How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing fine. I'm having a tough time figuring people out sometimes.
Yeah, some strange ones out there.
What's on your mind?
Got a quick question for you, Bruce. I'm going to get some life insurance for myself and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm 40 and she's 38.
All right.
And we've got 2 kids, 33 months and 9 months.
All right.
And not planning to have any more. And I was wondering what amounts we should be looking at.
Well, you left out a whole bunch of things out of this equation. How much do you earn?
Myself, right around 58,000 a year.
And what does your wife earn?
Around 22.
What kind of debts do you have?
House, car, some credit card bills, nothing that major.
Mm-hmm. What is your and if you were to, what does your wife do?
She works for the phone company.
All right. What we're looking for is to provide dollars that you wouldn't if you weren't in the equation. Isn't that what we're saying here?
Right. Or vice versa.
Yeah. Well, no, we're going to take both of you out of the equation. Okay. Now, how much do you earn again?
About 58.
All right. In order to provide $60,000 a year, you're going to have about $750,000 worth of insurance. But that's a little heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't mind attacking principal, having some principal and some interest,
right?
Don't we get the number down? At your age, do you smoke?
No, I don't.
Okay. Good health?
Yes, sir.
You could pick up $500,000 worth of insurance for very little money.
Okay.
And your wife, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
Maybe $300,000 on your wife. Does she smoke?
No, sir.
Okay. You shouldn't have any problem. But I think somewhere around $300,000 on your wife.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is provide the income. Not going to provide the love and affection.
Right.
But the income in case one of you happens to leave a little prematurely. And I would do that with straight, pure, renewable, convertible term.
Convertible term. Okay.
Renewable, convertible. 2 terms. Renewable, convertible term.
Okay. And Bruce, can I ask you one more question?
I'll tell you what. Let me take a little time out and then you can ask me. Fair enough?
Sure.
I'm Bruce Williams. I'm talking with a friend in Erie, Pennsylvania. Had something else on his mind. Now we got a clean blackboard. Go ahead.
Okay. We're thinking of taking a vacation next
Great.
fall.
I have vacations. I'm all for them.
We're going to head down to your neck of the woods. Hopefully, I want to go to the Keys, but she wants to go a little further south.
How much further south can you go to the Keys? You're going to fall off. It's Cuba.
She's talking, not Puerto Rico, but like the Bahamas.
Well, the Bahamas were nowhere near that. The Bahamas are east.
Right. Or a little,
At least unless I'm flying my airplane the wrong direction here. The Bahamas are east of Orlando, and well, depending on what part of the Bahamas, the Keys are much further south.
Right. What would you, to solve the argument?
At the risk of offending somebody, because somebody, I was talking to about vacations.
Right.
24 hours in the Keys would drive me right the wall.
Okay.
I mean, key lime pie and wander around Key West, maybe one day.
Okay.
I mean, I can get down there from where I live in my plane in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'll get out for breakfast or something, but that's the extent of my. I have a friend that lives in the Keys 3 months a year. It would drive me out. I spent 2 weeks there one night. I would far. If I just had this discussion, I would far prefer to be over in the Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
Now, the Bahamas is not my favorite place either.
Okay.
But well, there's a lot of places I like to go. I mean, depending, budget is a factor, time is a factor.
Say a week.
The Bahamas are nice for me because, again, I can get over there in an hour and a half from my home, or an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. What are you looking for?
Just to get away from it all, just sit in the sun, do some snorkeling. Just
the Bahamas are the Bahamas are fun. You might like the Keys. I don't know.
You never know.
That's right.
You don't know until you go.
And that's exactly right. Don't accept my prejudices. And you could do both if you really wanted to.
Because I listened to your show quite a bit, and I heard you talk a lot about Puerto Rico.
I like Puerto Rico.
I was there for 10 days, and I would move there in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
But the wife won't go. She's one of those, let's go someplace you haven't been yet.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with her. I mean, there are other islands in the Caribbean that are interesting. Barbados, Antigua would be two that are that are within reason. If you're looking just for a place to hang out, I like the Caymans. But in terms of budget, you could probably do it cheaper going to the Bahamas, and cheaper still. How are you getting down? You gonna fly? Or you gonna drive down?
Fly.
The Bahamas would be probably the least expensive for you.
Okay.
Puerto Rico, of course, is neat. Have you been to the Virgins?
No, I haven't.
Well, you might enjoy them.
Okay.
They're right next door to Puerto Rico. They're not a whole lot to do at night, but there's some decent restaurants and that sort of thing.
That's what we're looking for.
A lot of neat places in that part of the world. And there's some, as I said, the Bahamas are not bad. And listen, there are people that go down to Key West and think it's the greatest thing since ice cream. Jimmy Buffett, the whole routine.
Yeah, I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan.
I really do appreciate the fact you're sitting here. Yeah, I like that song.
That's right. Okay.
I do wish you well, guy.
Okay, thank you.
Take good care. Rockville, Maryland, what's on your mind?
Hello, Mr. Bruce. It's an honor to talk to you tonight.
Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate your call. What's doing?
Well, I have a little question I was hoping you could answer. My sister has been bugging me to loan her the money to buy a computer. And
how old is sis?
She's an older sister. She reached the big 3-0.
Oh, boy, she's a senior citizen sister, huh?
Yeah.
The big 3-0.
That's right.
Why does she want this computer, and why can't she afford to buy it without you?
Well, they just recently bought a new house, and they had to get some new furnishings for the house.
Well, you said they. I take it she is married, has children?
One.
Well, what is she going to use this computer for?
She has some work that she could get from her job that she presently is working at. And they said they'll give her more work to take home, and they'll pay her extra for it. And also she wants to eventually just get work on the side and, just work at home and not have to go into the office.
Mm-hmm. How much does she want to spend?
Well, we've been looking in the price range of $1,500 to $2,000.
Okay, and you're the First National Bank of younger brother, huh?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. How is this going to impact now? Are you married?
Not yet. Going to.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole dilemma is that I don't have the money right now to give her, and I was thinking of I could put it on my credit card.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the way I've been thinking, because
you're getting. Look, you said you're getting married.
Right.
If you don't have $1,500, you're on the short line yourself. You're living from paycheck to paycheck, apparently.
Pretty much.
All right. Then to stick your neck out. I mean, she may be the most well-intentioned lady in the world, but what happens if she's on the short line and can't make the payments?
Right.
Guess who?
Well, isn't there some type of if she writes out a paper saying that she's paying for it and
no, sir,
I have no obligation?
You got to be kidding me. Wait a minute. Hold on. What's your first name?
Elton.
Elton, let's get into the real world here, kid.
All right.
I issue a credit card to Elton. I didn't issue it to her. I didn't issue it to her mother-in-law or to her pet Pekingese. I issued it to you. Why did I issue it to you? Because I think Elton's a pretty good credit risk. He pays his bill on time, right?
Right.
Now, what has that got to do with me if she gives you some kind of a note that says, I'll pay, and then all of a sudden, gee, I did nothing coming in.
Yeah.
Who am I going to go after? Who do I only have a right to go after?
Yeah, I see what
Elton. Nobody else. Not her. Not her old man.
Right.
Nobody.
No.
Now, if you told me, look, this is chump change for me, that would be a different matter. Sure, you help out your sibling. I would be anything but remiss if I said anything other than that.
Uh-huh.
That's not the case. You haven't got any money and you're getting married. Don't you think you ought to be saving some money for that?
Yeah, that's the first excuse I threw out at her, but she's a persistent sister.
Well, I applaud her persistence, but I mean, it just seems to me that they want something they can't afford. That she's 30, and that's the right age, I guess, for wanting everything all at one time.
Right.
But that instant gratification is just not the way it's supposed to be.
That's true, I guess.
No, I think you'd be very foolish, Tiger.
All right.
Very foolish.
Thanks for your help.
Good luck in your marriage, guy.
All right, thanks a lot.
What does your fiancée say about this? I'm just curious.
She kind of said the same thing you just told me.
Yeah, but a little stronger terms.
Yeah, pretty much.
Boy, am I surprised.
Yeah.
I do wish you well,
All right,
guy.
thanks a lot.
Chickaloon. We're hitting some great names. Chickaloon, Alaska. Where is Chickaloon?
We're about 65 miles northeast of Anchorage on the Glen Highway.
Okay, I thought I knew Alaska pretty well. I've come up with all kinds of places in the last couple of days never heard of.
Yeah, you know that turnoff where you go up to the
up to the boat?
The lodge up there at Hatcher Pass.
I don't recall it. No, I've driven.
The lodge you went up to on Hatcher Pass.
Oh yes.
That turnoff you went. If you kept on going instead of turning off there, if you kept going about another 25 miles, you hit Chickaloon.
I would be in Chickaloon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up at Hatcher Pass this past summer.
Yeah, it's pretty neat up there.
Yes, it is. It's a self-contained community.
Right.
But I'll tell you something. It was a little drafty, and that was in the middle of the summer. And there's nothing I like less than drafty, I can tell you. I mean, I think ice and snow and that kind of stuff. There was a gold mine up there, as I recall.
Right.
There was, it's run by some kind of a park service or some such thing.
Yeah, I believe it is.
It's kind of a decaying gold mine. And if memory serves the day I was there, it was cold and dark and drafty, and I could think of other things to do. And I talked myself into a corner, Chickaloon, so hang on. We'll be right back. I'm Bruce Williams. Alrighty, I was reminiscing about my excursions into Alaska with a gentleman from Chickaloon, and I'd forgotten all about Hatcher Pass. You reminded me. What's on your mind?
Okay, Bruce. I appreciate you talking to you first off, and my dad passed away the end of last year, and he passed away without a will.
Okay.
And there's 5 siblings, and my youngest
Well, was your mom still alive?
child.
Hold on, take a deep breath. Is your mother alive?
No, she's passed away.
Okay.
She passed away about 20 years ago.
Okay, go ahead.
And the youngest brother lived in my dad's house with my dad for probably 5, 6, 7 years prior to his death.
Mm-hmm. Was he looking after your dad or just living there?
Well, he was kind of living there, and then later on, he was more or less looking after him, doing the shopping for him, and tending to his needs and stuff. And
okay.
And so my dad had put my brother's name on a bank account and put his name on the house.
All right. Now, was it with the right of survivorship?
Excuse me?
In the case of the house, was it with the right of survivorship?
Or
tenants in common, or what? How is it titled?
I don't know for sure, but I believe it was probably done with a quit claim.
No, not done that way.
Wouldn't work that way, huh?
Quit claim means you give up your right but not your responsibility. I don't think it was done that way.
Well, I know they went to an attorney to have it done.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. Just trust me, it would not be done with a quit claim. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, anyway, as it stands, my brother's name is on the house.
Well, that's what I want to know. You see, there are a lot of ways. One way you might title is upon the death of one, it belongs to the other.
Right.
If that's the case, it's your brother's house. End of story.
Is there? I guess that's public record, though. I could find that out.
Oh, sure.
Pretty easily, huh?
Yes, sir.
I mean, without actually going to my brother and saying...
No, you do a real estate sub. Any attorney can research that for you to find out how it's titled.
Okay. Well, the other thing, and the bank account's no big deal. It's not a lot of money or anything. It's about $20,000. But
same thing.
I have a feeling my brother's using that money.
Well, maybe his money too.
Well, yeah.
If it was titled in both of their names with a right of survivorship, then it's his if your dad passes away.
Would that be done on the bank account itself, or something?
Yes, sir.
Separate?
On the bank account itself.
Okay.
And even if not,
yeah,
he is presumed to own half of the money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because his name's on there.
Okay. Well, I've heard you say in the past, and I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but you say something about getting appointed, somebody in the family because there's no will, getting appointed
administrator.
Yes, sir. Is there any, with what I've described to you so far, is there any reason to do that?
Well, I'd do my homework first. I'd find out if that. How much is the house worth? Let's start with that.
It's $100,000 or less.
Well,
in the neighborhood
if it was
probably.
You have to find out how it was titled.
Okay.
Now, any attorney can do that for you in an afternoon.
Okay.
In the county seat where the records are kept.
Yeah, this is the state. Do you want to know the state? Does it matter?
What state?
It was in California.
Okay. Well, you have to go into the county where the property was located.
Okay.
That's for openers. As to the bank account, that becomes a little more difficult. There, you would have to be appointed administrator to have any standing.
Right.
Whereas the bank couldn't answer any questions for you.
Right.
Unless you were appointed administrator. Now, are there any other assets beside the two things you described?
No. There was a small. If I'm right, I believe that term insurance goes to age 74. Is that generally?
Not necessarily. No. How old is your father?
Well, he was 70. Let's see.
Not necessarily, but the point is that the insurance. Who was the beneficiary?
My brother.
Well, that's his. Then that's his money. Period.
Okay.
But without regard to wills or anything else, if he was the Benny, that's it.
Yeah, that takes care of that. That locks that right up. Yeah. And really, I'm not really. The only thing that I was the house thing, I'm not really too concerned about because, frankly, my brother was there and he was there for my dad, and he did frankly the whole family a favor by.
Yes, he did. I was going to point that out. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, and he really did. And I was in touch with my dad twice or three times a week for forever. So and he was right there for him all the time. So that I don't have a problem with that. I just had a little bit of a problem with him. If the money in the bank, he got the house, he was compensated duly, I believe.
If his name's on the account with a right of survivorship, it's his dough.
Yeah, I got you.
If his name is on the account without the right of survivorship, it's half his dough.
Okay.
And you'll have no standing unless you go to the court. And that's
Okay,
something
so if by chance, and I don't know if this for sure, but if by chance another sibling happened to be on that same account, then it would be half theirs and half his, basically, is what it would end up being, right?
I would think, depending on how it was titled.
Again, yeah.
Okay. I just can't give you an answer because of you have to know that.
So I gotta basically get in a.
Well, I think what you ought to do is forget it.
Just forget it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a lot of money, and
not a lot of money. The house you can run down, but all you're gonna do is cause a lot of hard feelings.
Right, and I'm not interested in doing that, really. Yeah.
And as you pointed out, he was taking care of the old man when the rest of you were doing your thing.
He sure was, and that was cool. You know, we appreciated that a lot. So, okay,
Indeed.
Bruce, appreciate your help.
Good talking to you,
Great
guy.
show. Keep it up.
Thank you so very much.
Bye now.
Our telephone number 800-743-8000. We're going to go to Austin, Texas, KLBJ country. Well, Austin, I want you to hold on just a minute because I am, again, painting myself into that verbal corner. I'm Bruce Williams. Hello there, Austin. How are you?
Very well. It's a joy to listen to you.
Well, thank you very much. Home in our new jelly rolls, Austin.
Yes. Listen, I've got a problem with a major airline.
You don't?
Yes, sir, I sure do.
What's happening with a major airline? They gave you a lousy dinner.
Oh, I wish it was that simple.
What's happening?
3 months ago, I went to work on a convention down in Mexico with an airline that I've been flying, doing the same thing for 10 years.
In other words, you're trying to set up a special deal for your conventioneers, that kind of thing?
Yes, sir, and I was responsible for taking the audio-visual equipment down to Mexico and bringing it back.
Okay, you're just worried, what I'm trying to get to is you weren't trying to set up any deal with the airline in terms of...
No.
Okay, go ahead. So you're shipping your stuff down?
Shipping it down, paying full rate down, full rate back.
Well, wait a minute. You mean for yourself? Was this just... Maybe I'm missing something. The audio-visual stuff, it went down with you in the belly of the beast as baggage?
It went as cargo.
Then you weren't there. You didn't go with it?
I didn't go with it.
Okay, you shipped it down. Go ahead.
Shipped it down.
Mm-hmm.
And had been doing it for 10 years.
Into other countries?
Mm-hmm. Into other countries all over the world with no problems.
Okay.
And even to Mexico for 10 years with no problems.
All right.
This particular time on the way back, we handed off the equipment to the airline on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And they accepted it and took it because they had better security at the customs warehouse, the federal authorities down in Cancun, to secure it over a weekend. About 12 days later, when all the equipment came back, there was so much equipment they had to send it on several flights.
Is that right? What do you guys do? What kind of audio-visual stuff do you do?
Multiple projectors and video, large screens, huge sound systems, a lot of things that just aren't available for rent in Mexico.
Or a lot of places.
And how when the equipment arrived back in Houston, we picked it up at the airport, brought it back to Austin, and discovered $12,000 worth of equipment missing.
Mm-hmm.
The airline has been unable to provide us any information on where the equipment was stored or who was responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning I received a correspondence from them saying basically, tough, if you want to deal with the claims office, go ahead, but we can't give you any background information that would help you process a claim.
Well, I mean, if they don't have the information, what are they going to do?
What I was basically hoping to find is anything that I could find out from the people down there who is responsible for the equipment.
I don't think you're going to find that. You know, when you think they're handling thousands and thousands of pieces of luggage, cargo, and whatever a day, and pilferage is the way of life. Did you have it insured?
Yes, we did, and I was also concerned that if we filed a claim of that size, it was going to boost the insurance rates on everything that we carry.
I don't think that's true, but it may. but that's what you carry insurance for.
I see. So you
I don't think you have a whole lot of choice but to file with your insurance carrier.
There was also insurance on the equipment through the airline. And they've been making noises as though they're not going to be very sympathetic to a claim.
Well, they can be sympathetic or non-sympathetic. You're still going to put the claim in and prosecute it.
Do you think there's any other recourse at all? The equipment went down in bond, both with U.S. Customs and Mexican.
You must know, you as a guy who travels as much as you do, that pilferage at airports is an epidemic. Is that not true?
That is true.
It's just an unfortunate fact of life. The pilferage is just a real. Look at the pilferage. I mean, the whole containers disappear.
I see your point.
It's just that's what we carry insurance for.
I see your point. The unfortunate thing is it appears as though the pilferage occurred while it was being held in Mexican customs.
Would that surprise you?
Honestly, Bruce, no.
Okay. And it wouldn't surprise me here either. Where was it just here just a few weeks ago? In what was it that disappeared in New York? Ton of jewelry. Was it jewelry? Yeah, it was a ton of I think it was emeralds. And it wound up in some 19 or 20-year-old's house. Now, how he got access to that, but he did. Of course, everybody said, well, we made a mistake. He really didn't mean to bring it on. It's just amazing what disappears. That's why when you have stuff, even in bond, you insure it.
We'll definitely go through and send through a claim and follow up if they don't honor it.
Yeah, and you ought to talk to your own insurance company if you had, because they might be very helpful there because it takes them off the hook. They might be helpful in prosecuting the claim against the airline.
Yeah, I just didn't want to stick our insurance company for it if it was...
Well, no, that's why I said you want to talk to your insurance company and say, look, we are insured. With the air, I take it you took separate shipping insurance.
We sure did.
Well, then you ought to talk to them and say, look, you're on the hook, but we want to help you off the hook. Will you help us prosecute this matter? I think they probably will.
Great.
I do wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Take good care, Guy. I'm Bruce Williams. Hello there, Ogden, Utah. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bruce. This is Jim. How are you doing?
I am doing real well, thank you, Jim.
Bruce, I'm in the restaurant business, and of course I work quite late at night, most nights of the week, and I listen to you on the way home, and I really appreciate your advice. And I've been involved and have a business of my own for about 20 years now. Prior to that, of course, I worked for a company that used to make airplanes that you used to like to fly, Cessna Aircraft Company.
I still like to fly. I got a Cardinal.
So, do you?
I have the first Cardinal ever built with RG.
God bless you.
0001 Golf.
Okay. Well,
1971 Cardinal.
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, I worked for Cessna for a number of years, and I covered 11 western states, and then based out of San Francisco. And I got transferred back east and promoted, and was going back to New Jersey. And after living in the West, I decided to have the moving van move me to Ogden, Utah, and here I've been for the last 20-some years.
As a restaurateur, huh?
As a restaurateur. Well, no, let me back up a little bit. We had a distributorship. The reason that I moved to Ogden is I went in partnership with one of my customers who had a distributorship here for 4 states and set up camp here. Evolved into the restaurant business through a friend of mine who who was my partner in fun for many, many years, and we had a 185 on floats, and we went to Alaska 4 or 5 times a year. He got Lou Gehrig's disease and passed away, and I ended up with his boots on. It's been a very, very successful business. We're in a small town compared to Salt Lake, about 30 miles north of Salt Lake City, and we serve about 100,000 people. It's a destination type restaurant.
100,000
a year. Yeah, it's known.
2,000 meals a week.
Yes, it's
a lot.
Pretty much around the world. We have people come from not only from the various states, from Belgium or wherever, and if you look at my guest book, you can see where they're from. It's been very successful.
Seems so.
About 5 years ago, my son decided he wanted to be in the business with me, and he's in the business with me today. I'm about your age, and I'm a crapshooter, and even though I'm going to probably retire, I'm not going to retire. And over the years, people have, well, let me back up again. A number of years ago, I trademarked the name in all 50 states. And I have a lot of people approach me and they say, well, why can't we do one in Houston? Why can't we do one of these? Why don't you franchise? Of course, now that's a completely different business, completely foreign to me.
Well, it's a very expensive business.
Where I'm at is, I'm not going to retire. My son wants me to go forward with some of these people, and I don't know just exactly what approach, because that's a business that is completely foreign to me, and that's the reason I'm calling.
Well, there's a lot of ways to approach it. You can either license, you can go into limited partnerships, you can go the franchise route, or some permutation of what I just described to you, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, what you want to get into it, how much exposure you want, and all that sort of good stuff.
Well, the exposure part, I don't know. It's successful, and of course we've accumulated a lot of knowledge over the 21 years that it has been in business.
Well, first question you got to ask yourself is, do I want to do this extra? You're very successful at what you do.
Yes.
The question is, do you want to expose yourself to that extra activity?
Well, and that's what triggered it. I listened to a previous conversation that you had with an individual, and there's 24 hours in a day. Okay, we all realize that. And if you're successful, and I work 12 hours a day, and probably will, and until I tip over, that's the way.
That's because that's you. That's right.
That's me, and so you can't say, okay, this is really doing well. You're doing $2 million worth of business a year, and you're clipping coupons on an established estate, and that's great. I don't need any more or
well, there are also, let's assume, because I'm running out of time here, let's assume though that because of your son and whatever, you decide that you would like to pursue this.
Yes.
There are any number of companies that's what they do. They take established, track record, profitable enterprises and take them national, or take them regional.
Yeah.
Now and I'm sure you could seek them out. And how do you find them? Well, take a look at who's franchising some of the big guys.
Okay.
They're around.
Okay.
And you might want to consider that. Now, I'm not saying you jump into bed with the first guy that makes you an offer, and because we've been approached to franchise our operation, and we have yet to do so. We may.
No, I have a lot of offers on the table now, and my standard comeback to them is that's your area of responsibility, and I'll help you. And then it's gone so far as where I've ended up buying a piece of property or something.
Well, I must turn you loose, but as I said, you might want to consider going and talking to some of these experts that do this for a living. I do wish you well. Danny, thank you so very much. We're from Westwood One Entertainment. It isn't easy, but give us your best shot. Try and do what's right, huh, campers? Till next time, I'm Bruce Williams. Keep in touch.
I still owe them probably about 115.
And how much is that piece worth right now? If they had to go out and sell it, what's it worth?
It's hard to say because I know I've talked to a lot of people that say there's a bunch of them in the auction blocks already, brand spanking new trucks.
Right.
That people, you know, with the fuel, like I say, the fuel prices are just getting outrageous and driving a lot of truckers down under.
Yes, I know that.
You know, and like I say, it's a brand new truck. It's a 2001 model.
Well, it just seems to me for $700 a month, it's not worth going belly up for. You should be able to find a way to make some extra money.
Yeah.
Or cut your expenses.
Yeah. I've tried to work it on paper, and I don't know. Maybe I'm working numbers wrong. I guess I need to work it a few more times.
I would if I were you, and I'd try to get to some executive with this company.
Yeah.
Say, fellas, it's not going to do you one damn bit of good. Take that truck back.
Well, if they just repossessed it and kept hassling me about what I owe them, or you know, took me to court, sued me, whatever.
Right.
First of all, what's the worst that can I go to jail for owing them money and not being able to pay?
No, they got rid of debtor's prison quite a while ago.
Okay, my second question is if so they take me to court, they sue me, the judge says yes, you owe them. Are they forced to work out something that I can?
No, they're not forced to do anything. They get a judgment against you.
Which would basically do what?
Be worthless unless you got money.
And that would just show up on my credit until I got that paid off?
That's true. Oh, of course, if you get a job or something, they'll come after your wages.
How much can they take my whole paycheck?
Not your whole paycheck, no.
But they can take enough that it's probably going to hurt me more.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Best shot. Try to persuade somebody it's in their best interest to work with you.
Yeah.
Take good care, guy. Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's your turn in my world. Hello there.
Bruce, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call.
I'm delighted you're here.
Thank you. I guess you could say I have a good problem and a bad problem. I'm an attorney here in Altoona.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's a school teacher. Together, our income right now is approximately $72,000. Come the new year, that'll be up to about $82,000 because of a raise I just recently received. As you can imagine, being an attorney, I have a lot of student loan debt.
Sure. You're a young attorney, I take it.
I'm 2 years out.
Okay.
My loan debt alone, not counting my wife's, is a little over $100,000.
Wow, you really went into hot.
That includes undergraduate and then 3 years of law school.
Mm-hmm.
We have a mortgage on our house. It's approximately $62,000, but that's at 6.8%.
Well, you got to live somewhere.
Yeah, that interest rate's not too bad. I guess my question is, we have, after our budget, my wife has a pretty tight budget that we put our money into, and after all our bills are accounted for, there's approximately $200 left over.
That's it?
Well, on each paycheck.
Oh, how about $800 a month?
Well, we get paid every 2 weeks.
$400 a month?
Yes.
You're going to go nowhere on that.
Well, I mean, that's true, and I guess the budget, though, takes into consideration spending, for both of us.
All that may be true, but you'll be in there for the next 100 years at that rate.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, figure it out. That's $5,000 a year. You owe $100.
Right.
But the interest is over $5,000 a year.
That's right.
You're digging a hole.
Yeah, in fact, we paid over $8,000 in interest last year, and we were able to deduct $700.
Yeah, well, that's why I say you got to find a way to pay more. You got to.
Okay. That's my question. I didn't know if you would suggest paying off the student loans or investing it in something else.
No, I think I'd hack at those student loans. That's a hell of a debt for a guy your size.
Okay.
It really is. Does she have student loans too?
Yeah, hers aren't so bad. I think she has about 5 years left to pay. It's about $6,000 or $7,000, maybe $8,000.
That's all?
Yeah, well, she had more, but she's she's been out well, being a teacher, she went to school for 4 years, so she's been working for about 5 years. So, and she has about 5 years left.
Counselor, you got to find a way to reduce that principal at least $10,000, $12,000 a year.
Okay.
If you don't, you're going to be doing this when you're old and gray.
Well, I don't want to do that.
I wish you well with it, Guy.
Thank you.
Our telephone number, should you wish to jump in, 800-743-8000. I'm Bruce Williams. Hello there, Cincinnati. What's doing?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Shirley. I've been listening to you for years.
Yes, Shirley.
I got a question I'd like to ask you. I bought a house like about 3 months ago, and I live in it now. But I wonder, we bought it like we never had an attorney, and I bought it from an auction. You buy as is. But I found out today that some man called me up and said that our shed in the back of our lot was on his property. And I told him I could get rid of the shed. My son would move it. And he said he didn't want my son on the lot because he said he could move it. He would move it for me for $6,500. And I told him I didn't want that done. I only lived in this house 3 months.
Not hardly. Look, first of all, Shirley, did you get a survey when you bought this house?
Well, we had a title search.
I didn't ask you that. Did you get a survey, Shirley?
I don't know.
Boy, you did this all by yourself?
We bought this to a realtor.
Yeah, that's all by yourself. You had no lawyer.
No. They said we didn't need no lawyer.
Yeah, I'm sure they said that.
That's what they told me.
Well, that's not true.
And I don't know what to do about this guy.
Well, now, I don't know what to tell you, Shirley. I don't know if you're going to have to get a survey to find out if he's telling you the truth. And if he's telling you the truth, it's his shed, not your shed.
Yeah, but I told him he could have it.
Well, you don't have to tell him anything. If it's on his property, it's his shed.
But he told me, he said the people that lived here 12 years ago, the shed's been there that long.
Not your problem.
And I know, he said he could make me pay for that.
He cannot, Shirley.
And I only been here 3 months.
Shirley.
Yeah.
He's blowing smoke. If the shed is on his property, it has nothing whatever to do with you now. You're not trying to use it, are you?
No, I ain't got nothing in it.
Okay, then you have nothing to do with it. Shirley, the thing you're going to have to do is get a survey.
The realtors don't see the realtors.
Shirley, I don't give a damn what the realtor said. You need a survey to show what you own and what you don't own.
She told me that was up to the title search. This realtor told me that.
This is why you should have had an attorney, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And you may have to get one yet before it's over.
And now I'm really messed up.
Well, first of all, you're not really that messed up. Get a survey to see what's what. If the shed is on his property, your position is simple. It's your shed. I had nothing to do with it. Not on any property that I've had anything to do with. I just bought this much. But you can't say that now because you don't know. Got it?
Yeah, they come out and measure.
No.
Who
came out and measured it?
Him and our realtor. The guy.
Get a survey, sweetheart.
Yeah. You know what that's going to cost us?
About $700-800.
Oh. I thought they did that when you buy a house.
You're supposed to get it done. But you were out there doing something you knew nothing about with nobody helping you.
Yeah. The realtor said it does.
Honey, you keep saying the realtor. It might not even been a realtor. It might have been a broker. But the point being, their job is to line up a sale, not to do these things. That's the lawyer's job. They do not represent you. Legally, they can't represent you. And they can frequently give you some very, very bad advice and sometimes some very good advice. But that's the lawyer's job, and you should have had one. Now, get a survey. Find out what is what. And if you want to call me back then, I'd be delighted to talk to you, okay? I don't know about you guys. Oh, the real estate guy said. The real estate guy has one job, to line a buyer, to bring together a willing and able buyer to a willing seller. That's it. Anything else they do is gratuitous. But to tell you don't need a lawyer, that is, I was going to use the bull word. Barrington, Illinois. Hello there.
Yeah, hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Bruce, I've been listening to you for years. I've read your books, and you and my father, even though I've never had the pleasure of meeting you, you and my father have taught me more than I could ever repay both of you.
Well, that's a high compliment, and I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate your help. Bruce, from the time I was about 15 years old, I used to tell my dad I'm Italian, and I used to say, Dad, what if we open a pizza place? And it's fun because you have no idea how much work is involved in opening a pizza place and what's involved in running a restaurant. About 9.5 years ago, I, in addition to doing that, I worked for a local telephone company here, and I broke my leg. And while I was off work, I really worked on my pizza recipe. I took some of my grandfather's old recipes and thought that I made a pretty good product. So I ended up finding a guy in town that I sat in his parking lot on Friday nights, and his delivery guy never left, and I thought, this guy can't be making very much money. So I went and asked if he'd be interested in selling. I bought the business, and 9.5 years, well, I've owned it about 8.5 years now, and knocking wood, it's gone great. We've really done terrific with it, and I still work at the telephone company full-time, so I keep fairly busy.
I can see that.
Well, I have 4 daughters, Bruce. With 4 daughters, there's not enough money in the world and not enough bathrooms. So.
Yeah, between college and marriages, you've got your hands full.
Well, I'm not bored anyhow. I have, knock on wood, a great crew, and one of the guys that works there, I think is kind of interested in possibly purchasing a business. Hypothetically, if a business was doing $500,000 a year, is there some rule of thumb to determine what it should be worth?
Well, you see, that's only one number. There are airlines that did billions and went bankrupt. So what you gross is not the issue.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's what you net. How much you taking out of this thing a year?
Probably 20%.
$100,000. Okay. Ordinarily, with businesses of this size and this kind, the people that want to buy almost never have any money. What does that mean?
That means I'm going to hold the paper.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If you're willing to carry the paper, you can get a pretty decent price. But you got to be very smart about the thing and not strangle him. He's got to make enough to want to hang out. Sure. You set the deal. It's a sweetheart deal for you, but he gets nothing. Well, hell, he's going to take a walk after he bleeds it.
Well, exactly right. And if he ends up turning it around, knocking wood, he's really a good kid and stuff. But if he turns it around, where all of a sudden you're doing 50% of that business in a year.
What does he earn now?
About 40.
Well, you could set a deal up where he would buy it from you. He wouldn't make much more money now than he's making, except he'd be building equity. I would rather, and I have, sell a business to somebody who I had a great deal of confidence in their integrity and their ability to work their butt off than get a decent cash down payment from somebody I figure that half the time is going to try to screw me. And I think and figuring half the time they're trying to screw you is probably underestimation. Well, so, I mean, if you really think this guy is, aces and he's willing to work his butt off and so on and so forth, set the deal up. How much? I would say somewhere probably for this kind of enterprise, maybe a couple $100,000.
Okay.
2 times the gross. 2 times the net, I'm sorry, not the gross.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Okay.
But don't strangle him.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Of course, I mean, obviously, if he isn't going to do a little better off by owning it himself, I mean, what's the
Absolutely, there's no point. You got that. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
But that's the best place to find a buyer. Let me ask you this though: why do you want to sell? You're doing fine. You're running it partially absentee. Why want to get rid of it now?
I don't know that I really do want to. I guess what I kind of thought is possibly opening a second one.
Well, that's okay. That's another matter. That's an entirely different matter. And maybe you want to take this guy in as a limited partner, let him work his way into an ownership position. He's a key man. That's something to think about. It's something I've done as well. I wish you well, kid.
Bruce, thank you. I appreciate the help.
Okay, guy. I'm Bruce Williams. We go to Wichita, Kansas. I got a feeling it's a little drafty in your part of the world.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What's on your mind, guy?
A couple of things, but both pertaining to the same subject. I had heard you mention at one point that a former spouse can collect on your Social Security if you were married longer than 10 years.
That is correct.
Okay. Is it also true that that does not affect my ability to draw on it or my current wife's ability to draw on it or the amount?
No, that is also correct.
Okay, good deal. I was previously married for better than 10 years, and I'm quite sure that she's unaware of that.
You got to tell her.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to do, but I wanted to make sure first that it was not going to affect my current family's ability to draw on what they'd need.
No, sir.
Okay. With regard to that same situation, my current family situation, we're considered in Kansas common law. We are not legally married. Would she have any more difficulty in collecting my Social Security?
Sure would.
Even though we have a child together and so on?
Yeah, but why don't you solemnize it? Is there some reason?
Basically, it's been a financial thing and saving up the money for the type of wedding she wants and so on.
Why don't you get a civil wedding in the meantime?
That's what I'm thinking. I need to talk her into that.
Well, she's not going to have any rights, I don't believe, unless Kansas actually recognizes and demands you act as married if you live together.
Mm-hmm. And I believe they do, but I'm not sure if they do with respect to Social Security.
I don't know that. It would be a hell of a lot easier just to get a justice of the peace or a mayor or somebody to give you a civil wedding. You always have a fancy wedding sometime in the future.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And if you were to die, I don't believe she could collect.
And
your child might.
But my spouse would have trouble with it.
I don't know that.
Or at least could have.
Could have.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the information.
You're very welcome.
I drive about 400 and some odd miles a night. You've kept me company a lot of miles. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Guy. Good luck.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Our telephone number, should you wish to jump in here, 800-743-8000. That'll do it, 800-743-8000. Titusville, Florida. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I'd like to thank you for educating the public.
Well, you're very kind. What's on your mind this evening, Guy?
Well, I need some advice in preparing for the future.
I'm sorry?
Am I doing this thing right? First of all, I'm in my 70s of failing mental and physical health.
Mm-hmm.
I have a VA disability.
Oh, you said failing mental and physical?
That is correct.
F-A-I-L. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm a decrepit old guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a VA disability.
All right.
And now, briefly, what I have is some rental property. Also have $600,000 or $700,000 in stocks.
Mm-hmm. Who do you want to get all this stuff?
Huh?
Who would you like to get this stuff?
Friends and friends that have helped me, and not the family that has not helped me.
All right. Well, then you got to be very careful.
Yep. That's why I want to set up a trust.
Well, you can do that, but you're also going to have somebody handle your affairs if your mental faculties keep failing. Is there somebody that you could trust to do that?
I have, but the problem is that person is about the same age as I am.
In that case, you mentioned you have $600,000 or $700,000 someplace.
Yeah.
You probably want to hire an attorney to look after your affairs then, and give him durable power of attorney, so that when the time comes when you can't look after your affairs, he or she will. And they're going to charge a fee. So what?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, no problem. I expect that if I want to get somebody that's smarter than I am.
Well, the point is, that's not a question of smarter, but the problem is, you say you got family you want to cut out, right?
Well, no, I'm taking care of them.
Well, no, wait a while. A minute ago, you said the family had deserted you or something.
Yeah.
Well, then you want to cut them or partially cut them out. How's that?
Yeah, it is right.
Well, the thing is, if you don't do it properly, they're going to go into court and try to bust it.
Yeah.
They're going to say the old man didn't know what he was doing. That's why you ought to be talking to an attorney now.
Yeah. Well, this is what my plans are: is to talk to an attorney about setting up a trust. And,
can I make a suggestion to you?
Sure.
You tell the attorney what you want to get accomplished.
Yep.
Don't say trust. Let him or her show you how he thinks that should be done.
Good.
But if you say a trust, they're going to give you a trust, whether a trust may or may not be the appropriate way to go.
Yeah, that's like going into a doctor telling them what's wrong with you.
That's right. You just go to and say, this is what I want to get done.
Okay.
And show me how to get there.
All right.
And be sure to be honest with them about your relatives and that sort of thing.
Oh, yes. Okay. No, I have done this. Also, as far as the stock is concerned, I've talked to some financial advisors. And in fact, I've talked to 3 of them, and I think I got it down to 2 that I'm.
Well, maybe I'm missing something. It would seem to me that you have to have someone to act for you when you're no longer able to. In the absence of someone close to you, my choice would be a lawyer.
Okay.
If only they are bound by certain ethical constrictions that the average person doesn't have.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
Oh no, what has happened is that I have gone to these financial advisors and told them what I want to do is to accomplish this, and they said, well, they have a good lawyer that will.
Look, it's up to you. I'm telling you what I would do.
Okay, so you're saying go to the lawyer first.
Directly, absolutely. I mean, you have someone you have confidence in, explain what you want to get done, get it down in writing, how much they're going to charge, and so on and so forth. But it's got to be, because you see, this guy is going to be doing something for you after you are no longer able to reverse it. So you better get somebody you have confidence in.
Yeah. Well, this is my problem, is to find somebody that I can really trust.
Well, take the first step and start tomorrow morning.
All right.
I do wish you well, guy.
Well, wait a minute. That's only part of it.
That's only goodness. What else?
Okay, so what I've been doing is going into a financial advisor, and I'm thinking about taking about $300,000 to each of the 2 financial advisors.
Yeah, and what are you going to do? What do you want me to do with it?
Well, I'm going to let them have it for about 6 months.
For what?
So I can get acquainted with them, and then the whole $600,000 or whatever it is going to go to one financial advisor.
I think that's a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Look, you're 70-odd years old. You have more money than you can spend, right? Is that true?
I don't know how to spend money.
But you got more than you can spend. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Then why not just put this into government bonds or tax-free municipals? You know the money is there. There's more than you'll ever spend. Then you have nothing to worry about somebody doing you dirty. You're better off. Much better off. Think about it. I'm Bruce Williams. Well, hello there, Hartford. Welcome to my world.
Thank you, Bruce. How are you?
I'm getting there. What's on your mind, guy?
Well, I wanted to call and offer some advice to the caller that I heard about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour ago, the young lawyer from, I think he was from Altoona.
Yeah,
and
he owes $100,000 in student loans.
Exactly. I happen to be an attorney myself, and while I didn't have those as sizable a debt as he did, what I did was I happened to I purchased a home, and then I did a home equity loan and paid off my student loans with the home equity loan, which, as you know,
he couldn't do that though.
Well, I think he said
it's not $100,000 worth.
Right. But I think what he could do is he could make a nice chunk in it, and he could buy himself some time. And in addition to that, he would have a much more sizable tax write-off.
Is there not some benefit now they give you with a credit of some kind for student loans?
Yeah, I think they do, Bruce. However, I don't think it's anywhere near what he would get with the home equity.
Okay, if he has the equity, I'll buy that.
Yeah, I think he had mentioned that he had about a $60,000 mortgage.
Yeah, but he just bought the house, and in Altoona, Pennsylvania, $75,000-$80,000 houses, plenty of them around.
Okay. Well, I think if he could somehow manage to maybe knock away some of that and benefit from a tax write-off. He indicated that he had $700 a year in a tax write-off, which is nothing.
No, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
He only paid $700 worth of principal off.
Yeah. Oh, is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's...
that would take about 200 years.
Yeah, that's even worse. Well, I think, in any event, I wanted to offer that advice to him.
Counselor, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Bruce, and great show.
Thank you, sir. Oh, let me see. That was Hartford. We're going to go to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Well, good evening.
My problem is I went to school and I found out that there was another lady on my Social Security number.
Excuse me?
Yes, she had.
Say it again. There was another lady on what?
Had my Social Security number, and she went to college on it. And
somebody stole your identity. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I went to the Social Security office, and they told me that they accidentally gave her my number when she lost all of her information.
Oh boy! In other words, okay.
And so she went to school on it and defaulted on some loans. Also, all her other credit report is on my credit report now. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do, so people told me that I should have my number, get her off of my number. Mm-hmm. But after I done that, I wound up with all her information and bad credit on mine. Mm. So,
my dear, you got a lot of work to do.
Well, they tell me I have to get a lawyer, and
you probably would have to have somebody sort it out for you. I'm not going to tell you couldn't do it yourself, but it's going to be very involved, and it would be much easier for a third party to do it. Mm-hmm. Can you afford to have somebody do it?
No, that's the problem.
Well, then, baby, you got a chance to go start writing letters. There was a thing on, I think it was on NBC tonight about this.
Really?
And there's over 1,000 people a week. And there isn't an 800 number, which I don't know, but I'll bet you could get it. Look at you, and it's just a call about this sort of thing. 1,000 people a week get their identity swiped. Now, this woman didn't swipe it deliberately, apparently.
And you know what? I called her.
Yeah.
I had her number and her work number and everything, so I called her at work and talked to her, and she said she was going to take care of it, get her information off of mine.
Well.
And when I was at the Social Security office, she also said, will this be on my Social Security after I get a new number? And they told her no. And I think what she did was just got her new number and she just started all over, whereas I got stuck with all the mess.
You're going to have to start writing a lot of letters. That's why it would be so much better if you could afford somebody else to do it for you. Okay. I do wish you well, babe.
Thank you.
Good luck. It's going to be a second career for you. 800-743-8000. 800. 743-8000. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Let's go to Orlando and see what's happening. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
This is Vince in Orlando. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
I'm excited to get through. First-time caller.
I'm glad you're here, kid.
This is my lucky day. I'm in a McDonald's parking lot on my cell phone because I can't eat and talk, and I wanted to talk to you.
Eat, talk, and drive is kind of tough, I grant you.
So I'll talk to you and I eat later. I love your program. My son Bruce put me on to you a few years ago, and said, you got to listen to this guy. He knows, he's got it right. And it's almost like a quiz show. I swear, I listen to you as often as I can, and I guess your answer every time I can, and I'm 90% right.
Oh, I bet that's true. What can I do for you this evening in the McDonald's parking lot?
Well, I
with the soggy French fries.
Yeah, and then I'll eat. I caught the caller earlier, the truck driver. And I was wrong on that answer. I blurted out, bankruptcy. How can you tell the guy with all that debt to carry on? I'm in a similar situation, although I'm not in driving trucks. But the short version is I'm into apparently legalized gambling. That would be the stock market. And I took, roughly my $50,000 and started early this year and turned it into 100. And so then I maxed out a bunch of credit cards. Easy to do. I have excellent line of credit. Some are 10, some are 20. Believe it or not, some are 40. So the short version is, so I put a couple of $100,000 in the stock market, most of it borrowed money. Big mistake, thinking, well, if I double 50, maybe I can double 200. It doesn't happen. The market's gone down the toilet, as you know. So here I'm sitting with probably $200,000 in charge card debt.
Whoa.
And, yeah, a little heavy. At various rates.
What do you do for a living?
Construction engineering. So I can cover my home and my expenses, but I would like to get out of this thing. Of course, I'm looking for an easy fix. It would take me forever to pay them off, you know.
How much do you earn a year?
75.
$200,000 on credit cards.
It's easy to get, believe me.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, if you've got good credit for 10 or 20 years and you have a card for 10, then the next year they say you can have 20, and I had one that bumped me up to 40, American Express. So I write a check for 40, give it to my stockbroker, and it clears. And so they.
You got wiped out completely?
Pardon?
You got wiped.
I was on margin, so yeah. That's,
dear
yeah,
God.
Yeah, I'm not playing around. But nonetheless, it's wrong. But you know, at this point, I have a home with a mortgage.
Oh, hold it. You wiped out completely? Then you're telling me?
No, I probably have 30 out of 200. The question is, do I? I'd like to. I mean, what do you do with 30,000 with 200,000 in debt? Do you pay the rest of your life, or I don't know what Chapter 11 means exactly.
Chapter 11 is for businesses. Chapter 13 is for individuals. What that is to keep the creditors from your door so you can try to keep paying over the years.
Would you, I mean, in that situation?
I don't know if you're ever going to do that. I don't think you have the ability to do it.
Well, I know I don't. I mean, I could carry that debt probably another 6 months.
I think what it comes down to, I got to turn you loose. I think what it comes down to, and I hate to say this to you, you're going to have to consider Chapter 7. That means absolute bankruptcy. It's nasty, it's debilitating, but I don't see any other hope for you. You did a lot of bad stuff, but that's too late to talk about that. I do wish you well, guys. The Chapter 7, I think, is probably the only avenue open to you. That's a shame. I'm Bruce Williams. Let's try Neosho, Missouri. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I was wondering, I have a corporation, and I currently am involved in a simple IRA as my retirement plan, since I have to take care of myself.
Hold it. You have employees?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Just essentially me, my wife, and for the time being. Anyways, I've heard about defined benefit plans, and I was wondering if you can enlighten me on.
No, I cannot. Look, if you're going to sit down, you want to work out the best way for your company. We have Subchapter S company.
Yes.
You really got to sit down with an accountant and somebody who is into this sort of thing that knows exactly what your circumstance is, how much money you got to spend, how much playing you can do. And it would be, in my opinion, sure, I can talk in generalities, and I think all I could do is hope to mislead you. That doesn't serve any useful purpose.
Can you explain what they are?
No, sir. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Because, I don't know what is best for you. How long have you had this business?
About 6 years.
And has nobody sat down with you and told you how you can shelter money for retirement in 6 years?
No.
Do you have an accountant?
Unofficially, yes.
What do you mean unofficially? You got one of your... Oh, come on. What kind of business do you have?
I work in the semiconductor industry, and I consult to many of the popular semiconductor companies.
Well, what you got to do is hire professionals, Tiger.
Yep.
I don't know, what is your sister's credential?
She's an instructor at a university for accounting.
Oh, that is not a credential that I want. I want somebody who's working in the field.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, well, tomorrow morning, talk to somebody. I mean, I bet you've thrown away a ton of money over the last 6 years.
No, actually, I've just done it in investment, either in stocks.
That may well be. But, all right. What I'm trying to get to is there are a number of ways you can shelter substantial amounts of money and not pay any taxes on it for the time being. You'll pay it eventually. And if you don't hire a pro, you're not going to find out what these ways are. They got to sit down. They got to take a look what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what you want to accomplish. But it's costly if you don't. Sure, you got to pay them, but hey, that's what professionals are all about. But every day you go past that you don't do that, I got a feeling it's costing you money. I'll take that gamble on it. Good luck, guy. I'm Bruce Williams from Westwood One. Las Cruces, New Mexico. Hello
That's
there.
me, sir, and good evening. You got a heck of a program on there, like Paul Harvey. You're in the same league with him, Bruce.
Well, that's great company to be in. Thank you very much.
He's a great guy, too. My question is, when you run for political office and you run down the gamut in the different parties, they give you Secret Service to travel with you, and so such a time you should quit or drop out or whatever happens.
Yep.
When, in the Democratic convention, when Mr. Reverend Jackson dropped out, Mr. Reagan signed a piece of paper that said he continued with. My question is, does he still get it? Does he still get Secret Service?
Well, I would doubt it very seriously.
He signed one, I know.
They might have extended it first. You ordinarily, when you're out of the contention, your Secret Service
goes out the window.
Yeah, it dies right there. The president and his family get it.
Yes.
And of course, obviously, former presidents, and I guess some of their family members for a limited period of time.
And then there's a period when the program's over.
Yeah.
Well,
One of the, and of course, some years ago, during Mr. Reagan's presidency, his son worked for us, Ronald Reagan Jr.
I see.
And very frankly, he's a nice young man. I mean, I don't know him well, but I got to know him, certainly. And one of the things there several of us were not real comfortable with was that he sent his Secret Service people home. And that was all very well, and he was just another guy sitting around the room, except if there were several of us that felt if somebody came in to snatch him or kill him,
yes,
the rest of us were liable. They didn't care about us. The hired guns would not,
They don't.
that is thrust upon you when you're a family member of someone as prominent as the leader of our country. That's right.
Well, sir, and I thank you, and keep up the good work, and you heck a real wonderful program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let's face it. I think most of us would indeed like to be president. Certainly, I can't imagine doing that. Congressman, no, I wouldn't put up with that flack. Senator, I don't think so. Maybe, but president, you have to be strange not to want to take a shot at that. Not to want to take a shot at that. But there is, it's not all beer and Skittles. It really isn't. Look at the number of first ladies who have been gossiped about, criticized. They didn't do anything. What did Kitty Dukakis? She didn't do anything. Betty Ford? She didn't do anything wrong. I don't understand that. I think that we are really irresponsible in that regard. It wasn't so many years ago when you gave our leaders' families a great deal more privacy. You expect a certain amount. Was it, I think, Elliot Roosevelt, the son of Franklin Roosevelt, and he had a number of boys, said to his father, one of us has got to get killed in the war before they leave us alone. Something wrong with that, too. Sacramento, California. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
I'm glad to get through to you finally.
I'm pleased that you called. What can we do for you?
I've got a question about this television shopping that's going on.
It's ubiquitous. Every time you flip a tube on, there's a gold chain staring at you.
That's true.
Or a watch that's in very poor taste. One of those what do they call it? Gold. It looks like it was stomped on by a guy with combat boots. That rock. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're
Nugget
talking about.
gold. I like. No, it's even nugget because I have a gold nugget timepiece which is very attractive. That isn't. It's a real gold nugget. That stuff. Oh boy. Yeah, there's all the taste of. Never mind.
Now, but the question is, how legitimate are they? Is that top quality or?
I don't know the answer to that. I would suspect that I think I could say with some degree of certainty that the retail prices you see displayed are adventuresome. They're on the high side.
Yeah,
I suspect that the price you actually pay is a reason.
Closer to what it's probably worth.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not 100% persuaded you couldn't do this as well in your hometown. I don't know that to be factual. I'm quite sure I could do a lot better than the price that you see up there. $500 and some odd retail, but for you $1.95.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to swallow.
The spread is a little bit.
Yeah, that is very hard to swallow.
Is a little bit wide, but every once in a while. But I question. I don't watch this very often, you must understand. But I see some of the stuff they advertise, and I mean, I don't claim that I have very much taste, but just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
And another question I got for you. Our local radio station here quit carrying you.
That's true.
And I'm trying to find out how I can go about getting you.
Well, we had a long-standing relationship with that station, but there are other factors involved. They wanted to keep Talknet, keep me, but there are other factors involved, other network products which customarily it's required that these stations carry, and they just couldn't get together with our network. Now you can still get us in KMBR, which I think comes into your part of the world.
Yes, it does.
From San Francisco, and there maybe I don't know if Reading gets in there or not.
Well, I know I can
KMJ.
I can get you out of Fresno, but it's kind of...
That would be KMJ in Fresno.
Yeah,
sure.
that's it doesn't come in that well.
And hopefully one of these days another Sacramento station will pick us up, or the difference of opinion between the network and the station can be remedied. But that's just another business judgment. Nobody's to be criticized for that.
Okay, well.
Thanks very much for your call.
Thank you.
Stamford, Connecticut. Hello there. It's your turn on Talknet. Welcome.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
I have a question regarding holding a mortgage on a piece of property that I'm selling down in Florida.
When you say piece of property, are we talking about a home, or are we just about raw land?
No, 1 acre empty lot. We received a contract on the sale from the real estate, and the selling price is $7,500.
$7,500?
$7,500.
They want you to carry paper?
Yeah, they want us to hold a mortgage
For how much?
for $6,000.
Forget it.
Yeah? Why?
You're not a banker. If they can't afford to pay $7,500, they're not very strong financially. And it's true that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to go to a bank unless you're a very solid citizen and get money for raw property. Hold on just a minute, okay?
Okay.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for Talknet. I'm chatting with a lady in Stamford, Connecticut. She has a lot in Florida. Wants to dump it for $7,500, but somebody wants to buy it with only $1,500 down. Now, what do they want to do with that lot?
I have no idea. They didn't tell us that.
Well, see, the next thing they're going to come to you, and they want to build something, right?
Yeah, perhaps.
And they're going to be, by the way, they can't do that.
They can't build what?
I'll tell you why. Because you have a mortgage.
Right.
And they can't build unless you do what is called subordinate your mortgage to the building funds.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, there's a house on your property, that if you allow them, if you do subordinate.
No, I was wondering about
and the bank is ahead of you, and all you got is $1,500. And if they go down the tube, you're stuck.
Right.
For the whole thing, lot and all.
Okay, suppose I put a stipulation in there that they can't build till the mortgage is paid. Am I entitled to do that?
Yes, well, you don't have to do that. You can let them build as long as they don't subordinate your mortgage.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, why would you do that? Do you desperately need the $7,500, the $1,500? Never mind, that's all you're going to get.
Well, I'm not even getting $1,500 because the real estate's taking his up front.
Forget it.
10%.
Forget it.
And what about if I asked them for more money?
Forget it. What do you do for a living?
I own and operate my own word processing service.
Okay. If I want to come in and make a withdrawal, how do I do that?
Pardon me?
If I want to come into your place, I want to make a withdrawal, how do I do that?
A withdrawal of what?
Money. All right, can I buy a CD from you?
No.
Can I open a checking account?
No.
I get the feeling you're not a bank.
No, I'm not a bank.
Well, then let's not be a bank.
Okay, but you see, the problem is it's been on the market for 2 years, and I really want to get rid of it.
Yeah, but you're not getting rid of it.
I'm not.
Not that way. Not in my opinion.
So you feel as though he doesn't have enough money into
That's
it, and
right.
he just dropped the payments.
If he does, where are you?
It probably cost me more for a lawyer to try to get me my money, right?
I would think so. You're asking my opinion.
Yeah.
You're actually only
I value your opinion. That's why I'm calling.
You're only getting $7,500 down, $750 for you, less whatever fees are involved.
Well, he's paying all the fees. That's written on.
I wouldn't do it.
No?
No, ma'am. I'd drop the price and get out. You're better off to just drop it and
You
be
mean
gone.
if somebody came across with like $6,000, take
Or $5,000, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
You're not in the banking business, and I don't think you belong there.
Okay.
Good luck, hon.
Thank you very much.
Take good care.
Bye.
Watertown, Wisconsin. Whereabouts in Wisconsin is that?
Oh, it's about 40 miles west of Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be in Appleton next week.
Oh, sure.
On Tuesday next week, we'll be out there. It's all courtesy of Wisconsin Bell and the Small Business Administration. I'm kind of hopeful if you're a business-type person, you'll give Wisconsin Bell a call and come on down and see us. It's an all-day seminar on the 6th of June, D-Day. What's on your mind?
Well, I was wondering, Bruce, if you could help me. I have seems to have a problem with interviewing skills. I'm a teacher, and I'm currently trying to change positions, and I don't seem to have
teaching? You're getting out of teaching, or you're just another teaching job?
Just another teaching job.
What do you teach?
Special education.
You have to be more specific today. That covers a lot of things.
Learning disability.
Okay.
I seem to get the interview. I've sent out my letters of resume. I send out my credentials, and I get the interview.
Mm-hmm.
During the interview, they say, we like what we see in your credentials, and so on and so forth. And they say, we'll let you know in 2 weeks. Well, in 2 weeks, I'll get a letter that says, thank you for interviewing with us, but we've selected so-and-so. And this happens, I bet this has happened 5, 6, 7 times already.
How long have you been teaching?
15 years.
All right, I want you to hold on a minute. We'll go around the corner, and let's talk about what makes a good interview, shall we?
Sure.
All righty, I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around, because you may be interviewed one of these days. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Watertown, Wisconsin. He is in the teaching business, would like to find a different teaching job. Are you teaching now in the public environment?
Yes, I am.
Are you tenured?
Oh, sure. Well, we don't exactly, after 3 years, basically.
Pretty tough to fire you after 3 years.
Pretty much, yeah.
Why are you looking for another job?
I'd like to get closer to where I grew up.
Which is?
Which is in the Green Bay area.
Okay. You're not very far from there now, are you?
Well, it's still, no, not really. Not really. Just a different location.
All right. Now, are you a good teacher?
Well, I'd like to think I am, sure.
All right, in terms of ratings and all that sort of jazz?
I always get, my ratings are always high.
You got your raises periodically?
Sure.
All the good things that go along with that. All right, given that, then it would appear that you don't have an academic deficiency. Shall we start with that?
Right.
In other words, if they put another way, if they investigate your teaching credentials, your background, your relationship with your peers, I'm assuming this now. Jump in if I'm wrong.
No, that's right.
There are no flaws there.
Right.
Then something. I'm sorry.
They'll see my transcript that's sent with my credentials, and they'll see my grade point average, and they'll see what I did in student teaching, and they'll say, "Gee, we like what we see here."
All right, now wait a while. But if they were to call your present employer or make discreet inquiries, are there any skeletons over there that they haven't shared with me?
Oh no, I don't really think so.
Okay, then it would seem that something's going wrong during the interview process.
That's what I.
Let's take some of the obvious, or maybe not obvious. Are you dressed appropriately?
Oh sure.
You're sure?
Suit, tie.
Or do you bathe appropriately?
Yes.
I'm not being facetious now. No major dandruff problem.
No.
No body odor. No bad breath.
No.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well,
let me tell you something. People have turned off the whole deal with giving them one whiff in the face of a killer breath.
No, I'm sure those things are taken care of.
Okay, so no problem with hygiene.
No.
When you enter the room, do you enter with a fair amount of confidence, or are you on the timid side?
Well, I suspect I go in there without seeing myself on a videotape. I feel confident.
Well, why don't you try a videotape, by the way? That just might be something that could be helpful.
Okay.
Just have somebody tape you as in a kind of a practice interview. All right. When you get into the interview itself, do you, as best you're able to know, do you communicate reasonably well with the interviewer?
Well, I think that's probably where I fall down a bit.
Okay.
That area of, like, the interviewer will say, "Tell me a little bit about yourself," and I probably give him a brief description, and maybe I should go into more detail.
All right. Let's assume that you anticipate that question, as you have just now. Do you take time to prepare a good answer in advance? You've been through 6 interviews.
Right.
There must be some common questions that are asked.
Oh, sure. In fact, I I have a list of the common questions that...
Have you typed up answers?
No, that's what I should be doing.
Well, sure you should.
Yes.
And I mean, and you should learn them so it doesn't sound like you're whipping them off a cue card. But if the same guy is going to say, what do you think if you constantly hear, what is the most important part of your job, clearly you'll have a good answer for that question, shouldn't you?
Oh, sure.
It should be relatively concise, easy to understand, but cover the topic. You see, when you walk in there, you're not a teacher, you're a salesman. And you're selling you. And you've got to give a good impression of you. You only have the old hackneyed expression, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
This is true.
You have to, when you were asked, why do you want to teach for us? What is your answer? I want to get closer to home?
Well, generally, no. It's
what do you say?
Well, I say I like the district.
Why? You've been where you are for 15 years. What's wrong with that district? I understand it's a very good district.
And it is, too.
Well, then why do you want to leave?
Well, because I like the school system. I know...
What is there different about my school system than the one you're in now?
Generally, it has large... It's a little bit larger school.
What does
it has
that
a little more facilities.
Well, what does that do? Why is that a good reason to leave a 15-year-old job?
No, but it has more opportunities for me.
What opportunities?
Opportunities in advancement.
Have you advanced in your present job?
Yes, I have. But I've also cut back on a little bit of my responsibilities.
Why? You just blew the interview, man.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You got to try to anticipate the questions.
Right.
And have answers, not glib answers, but you can't sit there and have big pieces of dead air.
Is that wrong? Does a person during an interview respond quickly, or do they respond deliberately?
Well, I think there's a place for quickness and there's a place for deliberation, but there's no place for dead air like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, I was firing questions at you.
Right.
And you weren't doing too good with the answers.
Okay.
And what you have to try to do is empathize. Put yourself in his position. And think of every dirty question, every penetrating question. For example, I asked you why you want to leave. You gave me pretty lousy answers.
Yeah.
But you can't give lousy answers. You got to give good answers.
I know, but normally when I'm sitting and thinking about the question, I can come up with some pretty good answers.
Yeah,
but
next week.
What's that?
Next week you come up with them.
Right.
Unfortunately, you have to come up with them on the spot.
Or before the interview, I come up with some pretty good answers.
Yeah, there's a song about that, about the words I hear refuse to leave my heart, and so on and so forth. You remember that? Do you know that song?
No.
So it says, so take the pretty phrases the world has ever known and make believe I said them all to you. So many people are great with replies 10 minutes after the thing is over, but they can't come up with the quick lines. And unfortunately, in the interview, you're expected to do that. And that means rehearse and practice.
Okay.
Do you think that before one of the aspirants to the presidency has these debates, they just walk in cold? Or do they have a whole ton of guys bombarding them with all kinds of questions, everything they can think of, to get the guy practicing to think on his feet?
I'm sure they rehearse it over and over.
Well, is there any reason why you should be different? Are you better than they are?
Oh, no.
Well, you're under the same gun, aren't you?
Yes.
They're applying for a job with the whole country. You're applying for a job with that interviewer. Practice. Put yourself on a video camera if you can, and just see how well what things you do well and what you don't do so well, and be prepared for a shock.
Okay.
Not much fun seeing yourself on TV, but the practice can make all the difference in the world. Little gestures can make the difference, but being prepared is the biggest thing you can do.
Okay.
Good luck, my friend.
All right, thank you.
Andover, Mass. Hello.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello there.
Hi. I'm having a problem with a collection agency.
They want money.
Yes, they want money.
I'll do it every time.
Okay, briefly, the background on it is I went for some therapeutical type appointments with a doctor.
Therapeutical? What does that mean?
Well, therapy.
What kind of therapy?
For a back injury that I had a back injury and I had to go for therapy.
Was this with a physical therapist or a physician?
Physical therapist.
Okay.
So what happened was I went to about 2 or 3 of the appointments, and I felt that the treatment I was getting wasn't helpful at all. In any event, they kept charging me for services not rendered.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is they kept. Usually, I'd go in on a certain day, like I went 3 Tuesdays in a row, I think, for therapy, and I stopped going, and they still kept charging me until they amassed, I think, $750 total.
How many visits were you charged for?
I was charged for, I think, 10 visits, and I only went 3 times.
All right. Did you break the appointments, or did you just not show up?
No, I didn't show up, but there were no appoint. It was. I set the appointment. I went in. I set up an appointment.
You went for 3 appointments, right?
Right.
When you left it to the 3rd one, did you make an appointment for the 4th?
No.
You just walked out?
No, I didn't make any appointments though, and they kept treating it as if I had made an appointment and for 7 more visits.
That's just certainly, unless you signed a contract, which I'm confident you did not, that's improper.
Okay, and the thing is.
But you're clear now you did not make another appointment, because if you did, they have every right to charge you even if you don't show up.
No, I'm positive I didn't make it. It was just on a one-time basis. If I made an appointment, I'd go in, and it was just it was a one-time deal.
Well, I'm just curious. When you went the first time, right?
Yes.
And they said, "Are you coming back, Mr. Smith?" You said, "Yeah, we'll make an appointment for next Tuesday," right?
Right.
And the second time you did the same thing. The third time, did anybody ask you coming back next week?
No. And
all of a sudden they stop. That just doesn't ring true.
Well, that's what happens. I'd call up. It was, I think, one time they asked me on the way out, do you want to make an appointment for next week? And I said yes.
Oh, okay.
But that isn't always the standard operating procedure with these type of places. I called. Well,
I think you're wrong about that, but go ahead.
Well, okay.
Most places they do make an appointment for you the next time. Now, whether or not you receive good service, I don't know. Whether it met your expectations, I don't know. But if you didn't go, I could see where you might be charged for 1 missed appointment, 1.
Right.
But no more than that.
Okay, so the thing is that now they have the collection agency on my back, and they've sent me about 3 or 4 letters, and each letter that I get is increasingly more accusatory or threatening. And now they're telling me that there can be adverse credit effects.
That's standard credit collection stuff.
Okay, my question is should I take this to heart or should I just brush it off?
Did you pay them for the first 3 visits?
Yes, I paid them. I think it was a total of $150 I paid.
That was for how much is it per visit?
It's $50.
All right, it seems to me you may owe them $50 for the visit, the first one, because I'll bet you made an appointment. It just doesn't ring true that you all of a sudden after the 3rd visit they didn't make an appointment for the 4th one, but they did for the 2nd, they did for the 3rd. That just doesn't follow.
Yeah, but even if I made an appointment for the 3rd visit,
the 4th,
there's still 7 visits there.
I'm aware of that. The first 3 you're not disputing.
No, I'm not disputing those. I've already paid them.
I understand that. And the 4th one, I suspect you made an appointment for the 4th one, and didn't show up.
Okay, so
that one I think you probably owe. Beyond that, you do not, in my opinion.
So what happens if this ends up in small claims court?
Well, you're going to tell a judge, and the judge's going to decide What do you mean, but?
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have the right to do that. I mean,
they certainly do.
But it's absurd. I mean,
it may be absurd. It may be absurd, but they can take you to court. It doesn't mean they're going to win.
Okay, I
understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but that does not mean they can. Their contention may be that they only issue or they only do work in groups of 10. That they don't take people for one visit.
Okay.
I don't know that. I don't know if you signed anything. There's a lot of unknowns here.
No, I didn't.
But they can take you to court. They can do that. That doesn't mean they're right. Doesn't mean they'll prevail.
And the court and what kind of a court proceeding would take place?
I don't know that either. I don't know that either. It may be in one of the upper courts, or maybe in a lower court. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I just don't want to end up paying all kinds of lawyers' fees and whatnot for $750 of.
If it were me, I would not pay for services that there weren't. Well, hold on, you said $50 a visit.
Right.
10 visits is $500.
Right, and that's another thing. I mean, there's $750, and then there's additional charges added on for.
what?
Well, there's other things that they do. The $50 is just a standard charge. Then there's other things involved in therapy. I don't know, different materials they use. Sometimes they have more than one therapist come in. And
have you gone down and discussed it with them?
No, I haven't.
Can you tell me why?
Well, the thing is that because they keep sending me the bill.
Have you gone down to discuss it with them? And I'm asking you why you wouldn't go down eyeball to eyeball and discuss it with them.
No, I haven't.
Well, why not?
Because what's the point in going down there in person? They're just going to want the money.
There's no doing business with you. How do you know that?
I'm just.
Exactly so. You're assuming. I mean, if a man would go down and say, "Look, we've got a problem. I want to talk to somebody in authority." Could be there's just a billing screw up. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
But the thing is, you're only thinking. You don't know. You don't know. Have you called them?
Yes, I have called them.
And what do they say?
And they tell me the same thing basically that the bill says, that I owe them $750.
And you ask for an explanation. What do they say?
And they just said that, we had you, basically the gist of what they said was, we had you scheduled for these appointments. They don't really explain why they scheduled me.
Well, why don't you go down and ask them?
Well, it was pretty, based on what the...
you think they're going to attack you?
No, but based on what the receptionist there told me, it doesn't sound like anybody there is really going to bend on this thing.
Well, people like you frustrate me. You really do. First of all, don't talk to the receptionist. Go talk to the boss.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Well, maybe you should. Meet it head on, for crying out loud. Whew. I mean, I don't understand that. If somebody says, you owe me money, and I disagree, I'm not going to talk to the receptionist. I'm not going to talk to I want to talk to the person who says so. And I want to look them right in their baby blue eyes. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Goodness, 8-9 years ago, a young fella came to work for a local radio station here in New York City. I'm not quite sure how he got past the receptionist, but whatever reason, he was fresh-faced, and they gave him a job. And son of a gun, he seemed to like what he was doing. Lasted almost 3 or 4 days, as I recall. Michael Thompson worked for what became one of our local affiliates for some time. And then, lo and behold, here a couple of years ago, he showed up here at Talknet. Got recruited by, I think, Bill Lally and by Dick Brennan, all the other reprobates from this same radio station. In fact, I think that same station chased me over here for a time anyway. Michael's been here, and we've gotten to know one another very well, and it's been a good association. Michael is moving on now to a CBS-owned and operated station in Philadelphia, WCAU. He's going to find out what it's like to get up at civilized hours in the morning. That's about 2 a.m. He has to be into work at 4 in Center City, Philadelphia, which should in itself be some kind of an experience. So, Michael, we do wish you well in your endeavors. It was a joy having you with us, and who knows where our paths may cross again. So, you might, all of you, get together and give Michael a big well done over the last several years. You'll be missed. Simi Valley, California, it's your turn. Hello there.
Yes, Bruce, hello.
Hi.
Bruce, I understand you have an affection for vintage automobiles.
Yes, I do.
And I'll tell you what, I've got my eye on a 1930 Model A sedan.
Yeah, sedan?
Yes.
Okay.
My very first venture into something like this. But I thought maybe you could give me a few pointers as to what to look for or to be concerned with.
I get somebody who knows old cars to take a look at it.
Is that right?
Yeah, because first of all, you're not talking big bucks. What are you talking about, $7,500, $8,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
The first, really, I was a Model A, as a matter of fact. The 30 Model A I bought. When I got it stripped down, it looked like about 50% of the parts were no longer Model A parts. And nobody was trying to defraud me. It was just that this is just an old car for a lot of years. Just as, well, let me see, we're at 89, a 69, 67 would be just an old junk right now, right? And some kid gets hold of it, and if he can make another part fit, with a bigger hammer, he made it fit. So you wind up with a different, possible, different starter, a different who knows what. And you have so much non-genuine parts on there that the value is very much diminished.
So it's really a matter of authenticity.
Well, sure. You want to go, for example, Model A's particularly, you can buy any part from Model A today. They're still making them. You want to go over the body with a magnet. Why? Because there's a lot of plastic body filler in there. Although it may look great, that diminishes the value sharply. It could be you have a couple of completely fiberglass fenders on there.
That it does have.
It does. Well, that diminishes the value dramatically.
It does.
Yes, sir. That's not a restoration. I mean, that's a rape.
Rebuild, yeah.
Yeah, it's a rape. You don't want that. Or at least you want to program in there the money to go buy yourself the real fenders, real metal fenders and so forth. I would take somebody and pay him that knows. I mean, I don't pretend to know enough to go make a purchase myself. I would take somebody with me, and I think that you would be wise to do the same thing. It's a fascinating proposition now. And how big are you, by the way?
Well, I'm a big fellow, 6 foot.
Well, Model A may not be for you anyway.
Yeah, it's a little tight.
That's a little Model A can. I mean, you're talking to one. Model A can be just a tad on the tight side. They're a fun car, and to hear that engine purr along is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
But they are a little bit close quartered.
Yep.
Hey, good luck with it.
Thanks very much, Bruce.
I do wish you well. Yeah, old cars, they can be a joy and a heartache, but they're a lot of fun. Like kids, sort of, huh? Hi, Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Well, son of a gun, we fooled them again. We have indeed. Another Talknet hour becomes history. Miss Jaskett, you've done your usual fine job. Busy on those telephones and doing all that sort of stuff. And Mr. Thompson, once more, thank you very much. It's been a joy, kid. Hey, it's not easy. Give it your best shot, huh? You try and do what's right. I'm Bruce Williams.
We can't do it. And I explained to the agent and everything, and so I was out, a couple $100, no big deal, but I really wanted to book it because to have my name associated with it and do it in this major venue out here, it was exciting for me. And in any case, they said, can we have the agent's number? And I said, well, of course you can, and gave it to them. I said, if anything happens, though, I'm not going to make any money on this. I'd just like to have a couple of tickets. I'd like to take my wife. And it was just a lot of work that I was doing for this charity because I believe in helping charities. Honestly, that's really, we make money doing other things.
And you're getting no commission on the $60,000?
No commission. No, I was just going to get, I was going to get tickets for my wife and I and for my parents, and I wanted to have my name on the program somewhere. So in any case, maybe that's not the best way to do business, but it was a charity, and I just wanted to do it that way. Then I talked to the agent in New York, and I said, listen, they're going to call you, but if this is booked, I really want it to go through me. He said, no problem. You are my contact. I won't book with anybody else, period. Well, 6 months passed, nothing happened. I look in the paper, and there he is playing at this big hall for this charity group on the date, and they just, ripped me off, I feel, for what I wasn't getting anyway. I did all this work for him. So my question to you is, I feel very, very taken by this, and I'm trying to decide whether I should hire a lawyer.
To do what?
And
well, what is your loss? You were doing it for nothing to begin with.
Well, yeah, but there wasn't any written agreement as far as that goes. That's between you and I, and it was a situation where I was. I can go and say, hey, I was going to make 10% on this. There wasn't any written agreement, but I have the letter that serves as a form offer for him for that date and so on. Whether I should hire a lawyer and go for more money, or I should just go to small claims court and just go $2,500 and just let them know how disappointed I am. If I lose, it's only $6. It's not that big a deal. But I really feel like I have a good case, and a friend of the family who's a lawyer said that I do as well. So I'm just trying to figure out what you think I should do.
Nothing.
Yeah.
First of all, it's hard for me to swing me. Sheila told me who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And anybody who would pay him $60,000 for an appearance ought to be fit for a rubber room. Bill, you're familiar with some of the fees these guys. Can you believe that for him? No, I mean, the guy's he's a half decent comedian, but he was working in a theater in New York.
Yep.
All week long for a fraction of the number you just mentioned.
Same in my opinion.
Pardon?
I agree with you. It's the same thing in my opinion.
Well,
but
then I don't think
they wanted,
well,
and that's what the client was willing to pay.
But that's all right. I guess that says it all, I suppose. I don't see where you've been injured. I can understand where your pride is injured, but you haven't been financially injured, you could make the point, well, would have helped my business to have my name on the program or something.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, no, I just think you learned a lesson.
Mm. Not going to them and saying, hey, I was going to make 10% on this deal, and that's $6,000, and why would you do such a thing or anything like that? It just,
well, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that and see if it works. I mean, I don't know if you get on the witness stand, are you prepared to say that?
I'm sorry?
On the witness stand, are you prepared to say that?
Oh, of course.
You are?
To say that, that I was what?
That you were going to make $6,000.
Oh, I see. Are you
going to perjure yourself? That was my question.
No.
Got rid of that, and I know exactly, but we'll save that for another time. Good luck, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
I'm the one that met you in Pittsburgh at the airport that time.
You're the gorgeous redhead?
Well, I have red hair,
But you brought your boyfriend with you.
What?
You brought your boyfriend with you.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Here, I thought I had a stagnation at the airport, and you brought your boyfriend.
Oh, well, he wanted to meet you too, because he's the one that introduced me to you over the radio.
Yeah, but I mean, no. Well, what can I say?
Oh well.
What
next time.
What might have been?
Well, maybe there might be another time.
There you go. What's on your mind, love?
Well, I'm going.
If I remember correctly, you were an attorney working for one of the public agencies. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, go.
Well, now I'm going for an interview to another one. To another public agency for an interview for another job.
Uh-huh.
And if I would get the job and accept it under the terms that I know about now, it would be a decrease of about $4,000 a year, which is a lot of money.
Yes, it is. From what to what?
Like about 36 to 32.
Okay, that's quite a chunk. Why would you want to do that?
Well, because I'm not happy in the job that I'm doing, and I think I would like this work.
Well, are you willing to give up $4,000 a year for liking your job?
Well, that's what I'm trying to balance out. I'm going to try and wheedle it up, but it just may not be possible because the money just might not be there. Period.
Might not be in the budget, huh?
Right. It just might not be there. I guess I was wondering, when do I bring this up? After I've been offered the job, I guess.
Well, there's no point, I guess, in discussing salary until after you know they want you.
Right.
But
although sometimes they will ask you ahead of time.
Well, I would suspect, though, that they've looked at your current either resume or some kind of a breakdown about you, and they know what you're earning currently.
No.
They don't?
That's not on my resume.
Well, put another way, though, would they have a reasonable inclination just taking a look at the job that you have?
Probably not, because I'm pretty high up. I was given credit for all my background experience and started real high.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to go anyway and just see, and then it'll be...
Yeah, they may have some flexibility in their ability to pay. If they don't have money, they may have some flexibility with regard to some kind of fringe benefits.
No, I think the benefits are better. It's more vacation for one thing, and the other bennies are better. So it's a trade-off.
Well, as a practical matter, let's get down to the nit and dirty here, okay? Can you live on $4,000 less?
Well, I could force myself to. I just paid off my MasterCard. I'm going to pay off my Visa next month and move to an apartment $150 a month cheaper.
Why are we doing all of these? I mean, I can understand the first two. Why the third? Is that just coincidental?
Well, a couple of reasons, but but it never hurts to save money.
No, I understand that. But
my boss is 91, and he could die at any time also.
At 91, yes, I'd suggest that's a distinct possibility.
I just want to get everything in order.
Well, I mean, what I'm getting at is that you were suddenly on an economy kick here. You're paying off a couple of bills. You're going to move to less expensive accommodations and so on. Is there something going on aside from the fact that you may or may not be changing your job?
No, I just want to get everything straightened out. I can't stand paying interest, and I just decided this is going to be the end.
That's the way it's done, huh?
I know.
Well, look at it this way. Let's just $1.50. That's $1,800. There's after taxes. There's half of your $4,000 right there.
Yeah.
Maintaining the same lifestyle, you can still go out and have the quiche and the rest of it. You've saved $2,000 to the $4,000. Now, if you can save $2,000 someplace else that is reasonably not too painful, then you're home free.
Yeah.
But if you can't, then you're going to have to making the assumption you're not saving any money, are you?
Not at this point.
Well,
I'm still paying off tons of loans. school loan.
Well, given that set of conditions, then you have a couple of choices.
Yeah.
Pick up some outside income. Are you allowed to practice on the side?
No.
You're not?
No.
Why is that?
Because of possible conflict of interest. And I've seen it firsthand, so I wouldn't even.
Wouldn't even consider that, huh?
No.
Would you consider just starting a practice of your own, by the way?
Takes a lot of money. For the equipment, secretary for 2 years. Space, no reputation, no clients. Pretty tough. You have to be able to float for 2 years.
It's not easy. I'll give you, unless you have some other practitioners feeding you some clients, stuff that they really don't want to handle, minor league stuff.
That might be possible if I move back to Johnstown, but not here in Pittsburgh, I don't think.
But you're not as well plugged in, is what you're saying.
No, I've only been here for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So.
Well,
But that's a thought.
you see, I'm wondering where all of this stuff is going to lead you.
I don't know.
Not very far, it would appear. Now, I don't mean that to be pejorative. I think, but it's just an observation.
No, I think you're right. But I really don't care to go into a big corporation and, I mean, it is a corporation, law firm, and work my way up to the top.
Well, all right, let's turn it around for the few seconds we have to remain together here. What do you want to do?
I guess I'd be happy working for a governmental agency, or I don't have to make $1 million.
Well, you're not working for a governmental agency, not if you stay honest.
I ran into that before.
Well, isn't that I'm serious.
Yeah.
So if money isn't a major consideration, then go for it. If you dislike what you're doing now, I don't
right at this moment, but there's other options open.
Mm-hmm. I mean, $4,000 a year is not enough differential to continue to do something you dislike.
Okay, I guess that's what I was wondering.
Or so it seems to me.
Do you have time for one more quick question?
Sure. For somebody as good looking as you, how can I say no?
Okay, now I have
Who
to
brings
warn
your boyfriend to the airport with a cup of coffee for me? I mean, anyway, go ahead.
Well, I have to warn you. You might not want to answer because it is personal.
Well,
I mean, it's not a personal question to you. It's more the Neil Myers type, but it's about my boyfriend, and he hates Neil Myers.
That's a terrible thing to say.
But he really respects your opinions.
Go ahead. Here, I'm breaking up this romance. Go ahead.
Well, we've been going together for about a year.
All right.
We've had 4 arguments in that year.
That's all? Are these industrial strength arguments or arguments?
Maybe 2 industrial strength and 2 minor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not yelling or screaming or anything, either of them or any of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people are not some people are yellers and screamers on minor issues, and others keep it all inside. I'm not so sure that's the litmus test we would apply.
Right. But what he kind of says is that he thinks that people that love each other, care about each other, don't have problems, so they don't argue.
You got to be kidding.
That's what he says.
Well, I think that's one.
I thought, well, I'd ask your opinion and see if that's what you thought.
That's a point of view I don't think that we could support too hard. I think that's reasonable. I think people do have disagreements. Question is, how do you...
I think it's how you handle it.
That's about that. You just stole the words from my lips.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly right, but you're right.
But it's like what you do with it, and I think you just learn to hurt each other less and less as you get to know each other better and better. I mean, hopefully that's...
Well, that sounds like the optimum. I'm not certain that many people reach that plateau. But you're going to have disagreements. It's a question of how you handle them, and some people handle them better than others. And it depends in some measure on the genesis of the disagreements too. Whether it's things that after a while you say, for crying out loud, you don't pick up your socks, so that's the way life is. Yeah. Learn to live with unpicked up socks. That's all.
Well, he wants to start dating other people, and I say, well, that's okay because we didn't have a commitment. But I don't think I want to keep dating him while he's dating other people.
Why?
I figure after a year.
Well, a year.
If he hasn't made his mind up, he should at least to try and work things out.
Well, you see, we're back to the same thing.
That he should be out trying to look full time for someone else.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true either. No, I really don't think so.
Okay.
There's always that apparent gender difference that women are and obviously there's exceptions to every rule, but women apparently are looking for more of a commitment than many men are, particularly in today's society. Isn't that true?
I guess you're right. Probably true.
There's women seem to be more commitment oriented.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you care for this guy, and I can't tell you whether you ought to fight the good fight or not. That's a whole different matter. You see.
Right.
But if you gotta.
I just wonder if you thought I was ridiculous per se.
No, I don't think so. Nor do I think he is either.
I
think he's telling you, well, maybe this thing isn't working as well as we might have thought it to be working, and let's cool it down a little bit. Okay. That's sometimes hard to say to people. I mean, you think back in your teenage days. It's hard to break up. And nobody wants to hurt anybody else and all that sort of good stuff.
Well,
we could spend a lot of time
I figured it'd be easier to break it off all at once.
Well, is that what you want?
No, I don't. Not at all.
Is that what he wants?
Might be.
You can't force somebody to stay in a commitment of any kind.
No, can't.
Better to give them a little bit of latitude. Seems to me. Until we meet you at another airport, I wish you well, dear.
Thanks.
I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Bill is saying, what are you talking about to that lady? Well, what happened, I mentioned I was going, I think it was to Altoona, if memory serves me, Bill. And the lady called one day and said, well, you're going to be passing through Pittsburgh. Well, to get to Altoona, you got to pass through Pittsburgh. And so I'll meet you at the gate with a cup of coffee. And by golly, she did. She did. It was a crack of dawn, too. I mean, this is an early flight. Had to get one of those commuter rides out of Pittsburgh that, those are things that better than the Chinese water torture, some of those commuter flights. I mean, this is better that you should drive. But in any event, she and her boyfriend met me at the gate, and they brought a whole bunch of groceries down to the gate, and we had a very pleasant conversation, and said, gee, you had to bring your boyfriend. Well, what can I say? Everybody loses once in a while. But she was a very pleasant lady. El Paso, hello there.
Yeah, hi, Bruce.
How are the winds down? Does the wind ever calm down there?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's a little bit rainy. Been kind of overcast the last day or so, but it's not bad weather. One of the nicer places to be, I think.
I think El Paso is a super city.
Oh, that's good.
What can I do for you?
Bruce, I'm self-employed, small contractor, and what happened is I took a check from in payment for a job we did, deposited the check in my account, and in the meantime, I went out and probably wrote 10 or 15 small checks, all for under $20 each, small checks, and what had happened was the check I took bounced.
It happens regularly, my friend.
Yes, it does.
That's why you're not supposed to write checks against what are called uncollected funds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see the purpose of that now. But anyway, in the meantime, these checks had bounced, and I finally got a hold of the company that the checks bounced with, and having that check bounced and the bank charges and all, it added up to quite a bit more money than the face value of the check.
Oh yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah, I was told I could make payments, that I could make a couple of payments to get caught up on the money, and I said, okay, that's fine. I went down and I tried to pick up the checks just for the face value only. I said, here, I'd like to pay the face value on the checks, make those good, and then next week I'll make another payment on your back charges and all. And I was told that I couldn't do that. They refused to take the money that way.
Well, how much money are we talking about here in charges?
Not a whole lot. Well, actually, okay, we're
charges, it could be quite a bit.
Oh, it is. I mean, $89 was the face value of the checks.
$89 in total?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Small amounts. They were gasoline, things like that. Well, the bank charges were $212 were the bank charges.
No, wait a minute. Slow down now. Maybe I missed something in the.
No.
Well, hold it now. Wait a moment.
Okay.
You how much was this check that you deposited?
$500.
All right. And then we'll forget that for the month.
Okay.
But you wrote how many checks against the?
9 of them.
9 checks.
All checks.
Hold it. 9 checks.
Yeah.
And they got 20. How much are they charging you per bounce check?
$12.50.
50 per check?
Yeah, $12.50.
$12.50.
Yeah, per check.
Well,
the bank's charging me that, but
that's $100.
Yeah, when some of them they put them through twice. See, so
they will customarily do that.
Okay, $212 or something was my bank charges. So when I found out what had happened, I went and deposited a couple of $100 into my account. Well, those $12.50s in bank charges ate that up right away. So when the checks went through the second time, some bounced again.
They're still bouncing, huh?
Yeah. So I went down, and now the company that has these 9 checks, we're talking $89 worth of checks and $135 worth of service charges with them, with the one company. They want $16.50 a service charge. So it's not a lot of money, but it's kind of the principle.
You get about $500.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of it. And like I said, it wasn't even my fault.
It was your fault to this extent. Let's get real now.
Okay.
You're not supposed to write checks against uncollected. Let's assume the first check was good.
Okay.
It still takes a while to clear.
Yes, sir.
And you're not supposed to write checks against uncollected funds unless you have an arrangement with your bank.
Yes, sir.
Where they will honor them whether they're good or not.
Yes, sir.
Now that was your mistake.
Yes, sir. I am.
Now what does the guy who gave you the bad check say?
Well, he's going to make the check good. He hasn't done that yet.
But he doesn't want to hear about the extra charges.
No, he doesn't want to hear that. He just said he'll make his good, and he apologized.
I think you're stuck for it. I'd have a talk with my bank, however. They should be able to make some kind of an arrangement where they could bring those fees down.
Yes, sir. But now the fee I'm talking about is with the actual store that I cash the checks in. They said that they would take payments from me. We're looking at $89 and $135. And what I wanted to do was just go in and pay the $89 on the face value of the checks, pick the checks up this week, and then next week I could pay them the...
They don't want to do that.
No, they don't want to do that, and I'm just wondering if that's right or not.
Well, maybe it's not right, but that's their policy. That's their policy.
And that's their privilege.
That's their privilege. Of course, you could, on the other side of that coin, just say, well, the heck with you, I'm going to close out my account, do your dirty work, and they'd have a tough time collecting that, too.
Yeah,
but
I want to pay
But
them.
you're not going to do that, and I think you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
But there's a lesson there.
Yes.
Have you learned a lesson?
Yes, sir.
All right, now the next thing what you should do is go down to your bank and get what's called an overdraft privilege.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what that is?
Yes, sir. Like you can put up a credit card or something.
Well, not necessarily even that. Just on your signature, if they figure you're a good risk. And that way, but every time a check comes in that's not good, use that in quotation marks, you activate a loan line, a credit line,
And they cover it.
and they cover it for you. That way, you wouldn't have all this problem.
Yeah, yes, sir. Well, I've learned my lesson on it.
Okay, kid.
I just trying to get your opinion on it.
Well, that's for what it's worth.
Okay, thank you very much.
I wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Thanks for your patience. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Nice to talk with you.
Well, thank you.
Long-time listener.
All righty.
You've kept me company many a night.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, here's the deal.
Here's the deal. I like the way you put that.
Just got married, Bruce.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I make about $50,000 a year. My husband also makes about $50,000 a year.
Gee, on poverty row. How old are you?
28.
Oh, you poor kid. Only, how do you scrape by at $100,000 combined income?
It's rough, let me tell you.
What somebody's got to do.
I think I know the answer to this question already, but he said, no, call Bruce.
All righty, let's talk.
Okay, I bought a car about a year and a half ago and paid too much for it, about $15,000.
A yuppie car, huh?
Yeah, and, I love the car and everything, but the payments are strung out over 5 years. Okay? The payoff on the car right now is $10,461.
How much did you finance originally?
About $15,000. So
And it's only
it was actually a $20,000 car.
Yeah, but it's down to $10,400 in a year, you said?
About a year and a half. Let's see.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, let me see. February of 19... Not this last February, but February
of 88?
February of 88 is when I bought the
And
car.
it's paid down $4,000 already?
And, well, I put down $4,000 on the car.
Yeah, but you financed 15 is what you said.
It's about 15.
I'm surprised it's paid down that far.
My payment's $308 a month.
Something wrong.
Something's wrong?
Yep. That
Well, I
seems to
called
me.
the company.
It seems to me. Look, you paid round numbers $3,600 plus May, June.
Well, I could be wrong on
Well, hold
how
it.
much I
33 and 16 is 48 round numbers, right? Is that correct?
I could-
33, 43. Let's say $5,000 max. You've made payments,
Okay.
and you're down 4,500. What happened to the interest? No way. Something's wrong.
Let me run in the other room and get the papers. I might be wrong on how much I financed. Would
that
it
could
sound
be.
better if I financed $12,000?
It would sound a lot better.
That's probably what I did then.
About $3,000. Now that would make more sense, you see, because you paid in $5,000 and you're down $1,500. I could live with that.
Okay, let's live with that then.
All right.
All right. So
What's
my
that car
question
worth?
is
What's that car worth today?
$10,000.
Well, so you still got equity in a car.
Well, the car's worth $10,000. I owe $10,500.
Well, then you're a little upside down.
A little bit.
Should you pay the car off? Which
Yeah.
you come to, I can hear it.
We have between my savings and we got a lot of money for getting married. We're
You need a
sitting
little-
at about $22,000 in the bank right
A
now.
little satin bag, huh?
little
That's like
silver lining to every cloud. Huh?
It used to be guys went around with baseball bats and guns, you say. Then they say, hey, you want to keep in business, Charlie? A little protection. Now they send brides in white dresses with satin bags from table to table, and they get more money than those guys ever got back in the old days. Oh, yeah. How does it feel to be an extortion? Anyway.
So
I think you're probably better off to keep it where it is at this point. The likelihood is, you're going to keep the car. Let's just start with that.
Yeah, I like the car.
The likelihood is that you've been paying interest on interest up until now.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm paying 14.5% interest.
Are you really?
Yeah. See, that's why. See, if I make the payments, I have 43 payments left at $308.10 a month.
What does that work out to?
That's $13,248.
And your principal balance is $10,500 now.
Yeah, so I'd save almost $3,000, $2,786.
$2,700. All right, let's do it. That would be your interest saving.
Right.
Now, if you had that $10,000 for how many months we got left to go? 4 years.
43 months.
All right, 3.5 years. If you were able to get 10%, which you can't get right now, would be $10,000, right? That would be. I'm just doing this in my head, so forgive me. Round numbers before compounding, $3,000. Something wrong with your numbers again. Something wrong someplace.
Well, I just took my payment book out and it said I had 43 payments left.
Well, I'm just doing the arithmetic on the numbers that you're giving me in my head, and I could be wrong. But at 10%, you'd have, without compounding, you'd have earned $3,000 in interest, and you're telling me you only have $2,700 in interest at 14.5%. Now, I realize that would be only $5,000 because you only have the use of the $10,000 for 1 month, and then you're going to pay it down by $300 and so on and so forth. But I think your interest figures I think the interest figures are off. But if they are not, then you'd be better off at this point to well, no, we're overlooking something else here, aren't we? We certainly are. The interest on you're making things tough for me. If you paid it off, you'd still put that money back in the bank. So you would have given up $3,000 in interest, but you picked up on $500, $1000, $1,500. Yeah, you better have to pay it off.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, now that's making an assumption now that you're mature enough to put that $300 plus away for the next 42 months.
I can save money like there's no tomorrow. That's how we wound up with all this money in about half of it.
In that case, you'd be better off to pay it off.
Okay, as long as we don't go hog wild.
As long as you don't go crazy, that's right. Absolutely.
Okay, Bruce.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Take good care.
You too.
I almost overlooked the interest on the money that she's got to be saving over. That would be a tragic. Oh, yeah. Oh, it sure would. Bradbury Mountain, Maine. Hello.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Oh, long-time listener. I love the program.
Thank you.
Okay, I got, I don't know if it's interesting or what. When I came back from Vietnam, I brought a Buddha back with me. You know what that is, right?
Well, I assume that you mean some kind of a statue.
Yeah, and I was cleaning up my barn. I haven't looked at it in 20 years.
How big is this?
It stands 30 inches high.
How in the world did you lug that back?
Well, I had the courtesy of U.S. government ship it home for me.
Huh? Be darned.
And I had a bunch of antiques, and I had an appraiser over. I was selling off some of my stuff, and he looked at it, and he said I probably should put it up for auction.
What does he think it's worth?
Well, the problem is right now they've been trying to date it, and they've dated it 500 years plus.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
It's over 500 years old.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's casted in a copper and...
copper or bronze?
Copper.
Copper?
Yeah, that's how they dated 500 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been having a little bit of a problem getting the accurate age of it, and there's an impending Oriental auction. And my question, you know, I don't need the money or anything. It's a considerable amount they appraised it for.
What did they appraise it for?
For an excess of $125,000.
Is that so? I wouldn't race off then.
No. And I've got an appointment the end of August
With
the Boston Museum.
That'd be a good place to go. Certainly, there may be. I don't know where, but a little bit of research could turn up the experts around the nation in this kind of art, and it certainly would be to your advantage to have you and your work of art on an airplane to go see those folks before you make any decision as to sell it.
Well,
I don't know where the museums are in the country that specialize in this. I mean, most major museums would have somebody on their staff that would have an opinion. Certainly, the Museum of Natural History in New York City has an extraordinary staff. The Smithsonian, maybe. I don't know if that's an area they would be involved with. But it shouldn't be too hard to turn up the experts. When you get to six-figure numbers, you'd be a very foolish guy if you just put it up for auction.
Well, I was going to enter it at the auction on a reserve of 100,000.
Why? How do you know it's not worth $1 million?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, then don't be stupid. Really, come on, Tiger.
Okay.
Spend a little money. You have to leave. You have to get on an airplane, do the research, and find out where the experts in the country are. And I'm confident there must be a half a dozen around the country in major cities. And you're gonna have to go see them.
Wow.
And what's the big deal? You can deduct that from your profits.
That was the next question. Is there capital gains on a war trophy?
I don't see why not. Sure. You have no base. What'd you pay for it?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Not a nickel.
You haven't got a base.
3 years in Vietnam.
Well, that's not considered a. No, you're. What'd you do? Swipe it?
No, it was a war trophy.
What does that mean? A war trophy?
Well, we entered an NVA camp up in the Yashua Valley, and it was one of the things left over.
Somebody's house, huh?
I don't know. They brought it with them, and I took it with me.
Well, if I were you, I would do the research that I've described, and I'm confident you can do that. And then make a couple of trips around the country to the appropriate art experts. But you're out of your mind to put it up for the reserve. It may sound like a lot of money, and you may find out it's worth a ton more than that.
Yeah, that's what I got in my mind right now.
Well, it may not be worth any more. It may not be worth 100. I don't know that.
Who knows?
But what you don't know, that's the important thing, and the important thing is to go find out. And if that means invested a couple $1,000s, so what?
Yeah.
Good luck, my friend.
Hey, I'll call you when it happens.
I'd appreciate it.
Okay, have a good one.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around.
For small to medium nonprofits.
Boy, you're really focusing, huh?
Trying to.
Small to medium nonprofits, huh?
Well, let me tell you the situation.
Sure.
You see, recently I've returned to a small nonprofit I left in 1985.
Could you give me some idea what these people do with their time?
Well, let's see. Public policy research, providing projects and information from experts and such on a particular issue, and then present it to legislative or concerned.
It's a nonprofit lobbyist.
No, public policy research in this instance would be just providing the information and reports.
Where do they get their money from?
Grants, funding. In this case, this is a private nonprofit where the money comes from an individual who endows a private foundation with the intent to create an issue, and they provide the movers and shakers of this issue with up-to-date information.
Okay, I guess. I see. I'm looking for the skeleton here. What's in it for him?
Nothing. I mean, it's for a lot of corporations and a lot of wealthy individuals. It gives them a chance to channel a lot of the money into good works. There's a lot of terrific public policy projects out there for children's defense or tropical forests or farm bill, that kind of thing.
Would you forgive me if I'm a little suspicious, but go ahead.
Oh my, these are 501c3 nonprofit organizations.
Okay. So you want to be a meeting planner for these organizations?
Sure. Help plan their meetings, their board meetings, their meetings, that they need to get together with the individuals and the sponsors and that kind of thing to help produce the final report, which could affect public policy, say in Congress or again for use as information.
Still sounds like lobbying to me. When you're saying affecting the legislative process, that's lobbying.
If That's right. There are, in fact, a lot of associations and other organizations that are in existence to influence legislation.
Lobby is not that dirty a word. Lobby is okay.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
I have no problems with it either. It's just that's not what we're doing.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
That invokes standing and lobbying. We don't have the approval and IRS and really the ability to do that kind of thing. And there are a lot of us that don't have that ability.
All right.
But anyway, where were we? Okay, small nonprofit. Let's see.
And you want to plant them, so where are we going with that?
Well,